Why is the internet being weird today? What's going on, guys? We are live. Let me turn this or edit the privacy on the Facebook thing because for some reason it keeps going back to private or whatever. But we're going to be talking to several awesome people this evening for the first episode of Creators Corner. The guest that we're going to have on tonight is going to be Amy Good, who's a graphic artist and who has done a cover for Psycho Sal, among some other logo designs and things like that for some people. She's new to the comic art side of things that we do. So it's going to be really cool to hear her take on some of the avenues and stuff. And forgive me for looking down. I'm just sharing all this out real quick so we can kind of move forward, because I'm only going to try to occupy these guys' time this evening for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the most, because I definitely have some things I want to chat about with each of them and figure out, their thought processes on some of this stuff and how they view the industry and stuff like that. But then we're also going to have Dale Guzman and we're going to have Caesar, who do podcasts and talk to some of the people in the industry and things like that, shining light on artists and creators and so on and so forth. So I want to make sure that, that we're talking, to each of them about those different avenues. And then, also we're going to have Sean on here tonight, who is the owner operator of Comics Elite. He also does the Merc publishing and stuff like that. So Sean's running a little behind, so hopefully he'll be here in just a little bit. Dale's at work. He's going to try to jump on here in a little bit during his lunch break. Guys, do me a favor. If you're viewing this, share out the video, post it in all the creator groups and things like that, because we want to start making this at least a once to 2 month, show to where we talk to a bunch of different people in the industry and different aspects of that foothold they have in the industry. But anyway, let me go ahead and bring these guys on. We're going to start talking to them. And like I said, we'll grab everyone else when we get them on. I chopped all my hair off today. It was about 14 inches of it. And that's real inches, not white boy inches. But we're definitely going to have some fun tonight and talk about some really cool stuff. So make sure you share it, guys. So let me bring these guys on. Here comes Caesar and Miss Amy Good. What's up?
Hey.
Hello, Miss Amy.
Hey guys.
Amy got her beer already going.
Yeah, Amy's already drunk.
I wish.
I forgot to even stop. I actually meant to stop and grab something, and it completely slipped my mind. But then again, I don't know if I already talk enough as it is. I don't know if you want me lit.
Yeah, I'm funny when I drink. Actually, I take that back. I'm funnier when I'm drinking.
I was gonna say I think I'm funny all the time.
Hey Neil, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You think I have no filter now? Yeah. You get some alcohol in me, and you're gonna get a whole lot of bluntness. But anyway, so like I said, let's chat about some stuff. And like I said, Dale should be here in a little bit, and Sean should be here in a little bit too. I'm sure he's probably wrapping stuff up with his store. So let's start with Amy. Let's start with you. Give us a brief little description of what it is you do as far as the artistic side and stuff like that, the creative side of it, and your foot in this crazy world we call comics. So give us a little information about you.
Okay, so basically I'm pretty new to comics. I've only been doing this for almost exactly a year now, but my illustration work preceded this by like 9 or so plus years. I have an education in fine art and illustration, so it's really the only thing I've ever known or wanted to know. And I also do not solely work in the comic industry. I also work in book publishing. I work with small businesses and help them design logos and branding products and everything. Anything that you would need to employ an illustrator for, I do. But when it comes to the comic book space, I'm pretty much exclusively like a variant cover artist at this point, but I have written several indie comics for people. And I do have my own book that's kind of coming out this year, but that was just picked up by an actual publisher. So like, I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, yes. So whatever you want to ask me about any of that, there's nothing you wouldn't already know though.
That's okay. Cause like, well, there's some of that stuff I actually don't know. Especially when it comes to logo design, self-publishing, or publishing with a like a actual book, things like that. So I mean, there's definitely, and I'm sure there's plenty of viewers that haven't experienced any of that. So no matter what, it's still useful information. So that's good. And for those that don't know, Amy, was this Psycho Sal's not your first cover though, is it? What was your first cover?
My first cover was Tyler Kirkham's Final Boss.
There you go.
That was a good cover.
That's not a bad one to have for your first cover.
No, I'll take it.
He's a super nice dude too. So, but yeah, for those that are tuning in that don't know, Amy has actually done a cover for Psycho Sal #4 that she absolutely blew me away on. Where the hell is it?
That's how I get down, man. I worked my booty off all week and all day, working, taking care of the kids, the house, the husband, running them around, making sure they get to Bible camp. So now it's the witching hour, you know.
Yeah, that's funny.
Send
them off to Bible camp, and now's the witching hour.
Yeah, there you go. Funny. But here's
right.
That is Amy's. I mean, absolutely. I love the design she came up with it. And she sent me a couple of design ideas to pick from, but this was the one I really, really loved. Yeah. Absolutely killed it. I love the colors on it. I love the design of the layout and everything, the silhouette. I mean, you absolutely, for no pun intended, but you absolutely murdered that cover. Well, no, I guess that would be pun intended, wouldn't it? But yeah, that is a great cover. You absolutely killed that cover. So thank you for being part of that.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about that for a second on the creative side, and then we'll jump over to Caesar and let him introduce himself. So with you having, so how many covers you got under your belt now? 2 or more?
3 or 4, but 2. Well, potentially more, but there's a couple that have not yet officially published, so gotcha. I can't really disclose.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, trust me, I've learned don't count those till it's in your hand.
Yeah, and also I understand that's like baby and diapers numbers, but we all start somewhere.
That's still something to be super proud of. I mean, I'm a big believer that even if you've only got one cover under your belt, that's something to be immensely proud of. Because the amount of competition that's floating around that you got to cover, that's something to be super proud of. So how have you kind of switching gears, going from doing logos and things like that? How has it been for you coming into the comic side and doing some of the actual comic art covers?
Okay, well, in general, broad strokes, it's not very different from what I was doing previously, in the sense that you just have to be conceptual, and illustration by definition is narrative art. So something I'm really familiar with, and really the only thing I'm good at in life. So, I mean, I'm not good at everything, but I'm pretty good at what I do. At least I think I am. So I find it to be like second nature in a lot of ways, something I'm just naturally predisposed to understanding. But I also come from a video game background before this. So in that sense, comics is like really refreshing. I also have the benefit of being a new person here. So I don't have to understand or deal with or be bothered by drama or pre-existing bullshit, because it's I don't know about it. I don't care about it, you know? And I also have the edge of being a new person. So people are just like, hey, you're a new person. What's up with you? Like, we want to know what's going on there. So that's been great. And I find it to be a very positive, like a honestly really positive community and experience so far. And out of all of the spaces I've worked in, everywhere from fine art to graphic design to illustration and its different forms, the comic industry has actually been the most that I've felt at home with. And so far as like, I am aligned with the people in it. Like, we get along really well.
Yeah.
So it's been a very natural fit. So that makes everything easier. And I think that it was all just kismet, really. If you hear that and it's bothering you, let me know. I'll go inside, but it should be done in a second if you
No,
hear
no,
it.
you're fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be give me flashbacks of LA.
Yeah, there you go. For the people
And
that
I live in a teeny town.
we'll have everyone's social links on the or in the post whenever we're done for tonight. We'll make sure that everybody drops their social media connections and everything there. Well, I'm like I said, I'm definitely glad to have you on board with Psycho Sound number 4. I've tried to, one of the things I do with the covers, I always try to bring in someone who has unique styles or someone that's newer to the industry, along with some of the, the vets and so on. So you definitely blew me away on your cover. So I'm super impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
super
you.
impressed.
I find the projects do themselves, right? So like when you and I had discussed it, I had immediately that idea, like probably how a medium believes they might talk to a spirit or something. Each individual client and their project just shows me what it should be, to be honest. So that made it simple.
Yeah,
that you liked it.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody I've shown it to is like this. So I mean, absolute home run on that one. So Caesar, let's jump over to you real quick because I do got a couple questions for you too. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know what your aspect of the industry is.
What am I known for? That's what people say. Who the hell is this guy and why is he known for? He doesn't even write or draw. But you know what though? I don't even effing read. So what are you really doing on here? I tell you what though.
I read anything in like 3 years. So
you know what? Last thing I read was a TV guide in 1987.
There you go.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at The Real Dracula's Wolf. I just noticed I have that spelled wrong, but it's The Real Dracula's Wolf on Instagram. And I do a podcast with Dell, the Culinary Comics Guzman, called The Comic Menu every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. East, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We have a lot of people on. We're booked all the way till August.
Nice.
We got some good artists coming on. We always have some good talk. Sometimes it kind of feels like you're just talking to a bunch of people in the living room because sometimes we make the guests feel comfortable and it feels like they're just shooting the shit and they kind of don't feel like they're on the spotlight. So it's a very casual conversation. And I'll never forget the time we had John Boy Meyer on and I said, John, you probably got to go, right? Because you're kind of busy. And he's like, are you kidding me? I love it. I love this. Can we keep? I like to just stay on because this is the only time I get to geek out with people. So I was like, oh, all right, that's kind of cool. So I have a different perspective of the comics because since I don't read and I'm a collector of keys, of first appearances, and I only sell stuff that I have no interest in to fund these books.
Right.
So I'm also not a flipper because I have boxes from the 90s that I don't care about. So my goal now is to sell all of those and not to put that money into other books so I can flip those. No. Once those boxes are gone, I'm done. And that's it. I'm not buying any more stuff. So people are like, well, what got you going? How do you do it? I don't get it. What do you mean you don't read? Then how the hell do you know what to collect? As if I don't know as if I don't do research. Come on, get real people. But it is just fun for me to be able to voice where this market is going, about how toxic this community can be.
Yep.
And we try to, on the show, we really honestly try to stay away from the negativity on the podcast. And I try I do once a month show on Instagram with Comic Uprising, and we're doing one tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And he's such a positive guy, and we try to really throw out that. I mean, if we could open our mouths and rainbow comes out, that's what we're trying to do because there's so many new people in this community that are coming in all the time, and they're like, how do I start? Where do I go? How do I collect? What do I do? And I get hit with that a lot. You'd be surprised. Like, I like your wall, so what do you do? And how do I get it? And collect what you love, people. If you're a reader, start collecting runs. If you like modern stuff, get into it. Start reading stuff. Read Psycho Sal. If you like that kind of stuff, it'll lead you to other stories from other people's books. And they appreciate that instead of going like, forget it, dude. You're asking the wrong guy. I'll save your money. Don't get into this, right?
Yeah.
No, man. It's all about the positivity, and someone has to do it.
Yeah,
because it's so easy to talk shit.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge waste of time in general because, like, we keep trying to tell and explain to people. There's so much. What's up, Mr. Dale?
There he is,
brother.
There's so much room at the table in this industry now. No matter what aspect of the industry you're part of, that there's no need for the drama and the bullshit. There's really not. So yeah, and that's the point of the show. So I don't want to get sidetracked on. I will have a couple questions for you guys because there is a topic that I do want to mention for a short moment to get your feedback on because we're still having some issues with some of the fans not really grasping what we're referring to when it comes to it. So I'll get to that in a little bit too. But I want to be able to have different perspectives from different parts of the industry so people can kind of grasp what we're talking about when we keep bringing that up. Dale, you got to get off dial-up. So Dale, so let's jump over to you real quick. Give us a short intro of who you are and what avenue of this industry that you're part of with the podcast stuff. Give us a little background on you, and then we'll get into some good questions.
Sounds good. So I'm sorry. I was making food. Like I told Will I was gonna be on lunch break, and I made some bomb ass food right now. So delicious. But anyways, my name comes from me being a chef and selling comics at the same time, or podcasting at the same time. So that's where you get culinary comics. So I'm always trying to chop up something good. I'm always gonna try that. But I started off with just jumping on. There you go, the comic menu. What was it? I was just on a random show, and I like books, and I just started talking to everybody in the chat. I remember one of my first times I was in the chat was with Epic with Rich. He passed away, rest in peace. And I remember I tried to trade him my mother-in-law for some books, and he wouldn't take it, But I tried. I tried to give away my mother-in-law for some books. I don't care if she's watching. It happens. But it didn't work out. But ever since then, I was always cracking up. Always enjoying your conversation. I met Caesar, Peckman, a lot of these people, and then I started talking to everybody, being in every chat, and just getting to know everybody. And then I got meet a group of people with Brett, Steve, Peckman, Matt. Like 8 of us, and we had a group chat, and we just like, let's have an idea. They had an idea, fuck, let's do this. I made the group, I made the page, and we all made the idea of the name, and we just started podcasting a couple of years back. And we tried to go one way. Hey, we're gonna be exposing that person. Oh, we're gonna support this artist. So it's been like a learning experience for the past 2 years. Fortunately, we broke up because we had differences of opinion on how we wanted to lead it, which is fine. We'd rather keep our friendship than the podcast, so we separated the podcast. Me and Caesar are going one way, the guys are bringing it another way. But in that case, we're doing double pretty much because they're bringing their own people that they wanted to bring in, and we're bringing the people we want to bring on, and we're getting that exposure regardless. So in a way, what's a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah.
And I've always been trying to tread on waters because, like, Will, kind of like what Will does, he tries to expose and not name names because, like he says, it's pretty much pointless. But I will name names because at the end of the day, I got nothing to lose. Sometimes, because sometimes I know it's going to be too fucking messy. And I don't want to get too messy. But we've exposed the bigger scammers. I mean, there's douchebags. I tend not to touch on them. But the scammers, which like Geo, right? The Russell dude. What's the name of that, Caesar?
Zachary Russell.
Zachary Russell.
Not related to me for anybody.
Not at all. Just let you know.
He keeps on saying that. But like those big time, of course, we're gonna name the names, and I've named some artists on my team, and they blocked me, they unfriended me. It happens. It's gonna happen. I mean, if you've done, I think here and there, like kind of like sus, we'll let it go. We'll talk about it. But if you blatantly fucking disrespect and do it, so obviously I am gonna put it out there. I mean, I have. I've had other people send me information. I was like, okay, I'll put it out there. I had to unfriend people because they did some shady shit. So. It happens, bro. It's But anyways, back to the positive part. I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of good artists. I met Amy through Caesar. Right? No, no, no. I think I friended Amy first, but Caesar talked to her first, or something.
Yeah, I was
But
on her podcast actually.
Damn
Yeah,
stalker.
that's right. Yeah.
I friend any artist out there, any art. If you think this artist, producer, digital creator, I'm gonna add you as a friend. And then I'll look at your stuff and we'll have a conversation. That's how I got to talk to Jiang Yang. Got to talk to I will. I remember the first time I ever really talked to you is that there was a time where you're running Waffle. I wanted to get on it, but unfortunately I couldn't pay. You gave me a break. You understood my situation. But ever since then, I learned my lesson because I was a novice back then. Like, hey, don't put your money or claim spots if you don't have the capabilities. I mean, it was only like $15, but still, it's still a learning curve. That's why
it's one of those things that we have to kind of be a little hard on things like that, because if you don't draw a line in the sand, it'll go from just those little things to the next thing you know, you got people spending $100 on one of your live shows, especially when artists are doing them. We're selling rare books, and of course we know buying comics, buying art, whatever the case may be, that's all a spontaneous buy. And so if you claim stuff and then it knocks someone else out to get it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't mind giving somebody a break. And you're right. There is like Caesar and I was just talking about that a few minutes ago. There is a lot of negative that happens here. But the great thing about this industry, there's so much positive.
Mm-hmm.
It way outweighs it. I mean, I left my career in the insurance world that I was there for 7.5 years. I made 130, 140 grand a year, and I left that to do this. And so, and we don't do this for the money. So,
No.
no. So, so the positive definitely outweighs the negative. So, well, let me ask you guys this. So, when it comes to, and anyone feel free to jump in and answer this one, and we'll let each of you answer it. But so when it comes to, because again, we want to make the show mostly about positive stuff. What has been? Let's talk about indie, because everybody knows who Marvel is and everybody knows who DC Image is, etc. And that's all fine and dandy and it's great. But so what has been y'all's opinion on what indie has done, especially in the last 15 years? So, with the amount of leaps that it's made, because right now, in all reality, if you sat and looked at the numbers for the amount of indie books that are floating around, in all reality, like if it was under one house, it would probably rival DC or Marvel.
Oh, well, fuck yeah. Of course it would.
What I want to say is that with indie, it gave a lot of spotlight to unknown artists, a lot of unknown artists. Some have become a little bigger. Some are still staying in the indie comic industry. Some got their first exposure, and they're so grateful, right? Because they got into that first, oh my God, my family knows it. I'm going to share it, give it. It's given the day-to-day artists an opportunity to expose themselves and give opportunity to show what they got, because I think there's another avenue is TikTok, right? And some people are not going to be doing that. They want to do the old-fashioned way, get into the indies book, and some of these indie books are a lot better than the big two, because it's not just about superheroes, it's horror, a lot of horror themed or not even horror, like
it can literally be anything.
It's a lot of suspense, right? A lot of suspense, a lot of thrillers. And I don't even read, but I do read the synopsis. And when I read a synopsis of an indie book, I do go and I won't read it. I won't. I'll be right out there. I'm not going to read your guys' books.
I agree.
I will read the synopsis and go, you know what? The first thing that pops in my head is that would actually make a good show.
Mm-hmm.
And the best TV shows come from the indies, because it is. I have a long box of indie stuff, and I shouldn't really read it, but there's some good stuff going. I could see this on Netflix. I could see that on Amazon. You know what? That's an FX show right there, easy, because I kind of do wish I would read, but it looks like they would grab you. And I could definitely see something like Psycho Sal easily be a Netflix series, easy like that, in a heartbeat.
First of all, Caesar, can you give me like the off the top of your head list of some of these indies that got optioned, just for Miss Newbie over here's memory
Well,
files.
Well, the only what was
What's
that?
that?
Department of Truth. Haha.
Department
Ice
of Truth,
Man.
Ice Cream
Oh, okay.
Mountain. Yeah,
Berserker.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
there are
Yeah,
there
of
are
course,
a bunch.
it doesn't mean they'll get turned into anything.
No.
Cult of Dracula is probably the most recent that I know of.
Something
that
is
got
killing the
out.
children. This something is killing the children.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
So,
But you know what though? But this is the thing, and I mentioned it last night. Just because it gets optioned and made does not necessarily mean it works.
Yeah, that's
Right,
true.
right, of course. Totally.
And I always use two examples. Why the Last Man, which was an acclaimed book. People loved it. The show bombed. DMZ, the show bombed. Sweet Tooth, I like, and it's going for a third season. So, you know, some
Still
people
haven't
like
watched
it. I watch it. It's pretty decent. I like the second season better than the first. But just because they get picked up doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm gonna go buy it. And that's another topic. Oh, I got option. Let's go buy the book so I could go flip it for $400 later.
That's
Womp
a whole-
womp womp.
Let me ask you guys all something, if you don't mind me asking a question. Why do you think, because William, you said this, you were like, they tend to be like more outside of the box. I think you said that. Maybe it was Caesar. Either way, why do you guys think that is? I would postulate that it has to do with like the environment in which these people work,
Yeah.
so they don't feel,
That-
you know.
That's for sure a part of it because we don't have anyone to answer to.
Right.
Or we don't have anyone telling us, "Oh, that won't work. That won't
Right.
work." I mean, even if you think back to one of the best examples of how sometimes the editor of a company isn't always right and doesn't always have his finger on the pulse of the audience, and
100%.
and the one that proves it the most in that scenario is The Walking Dead.
Oh,
know-
yeah, and everything that's come out for the past 10 years,
well, I mean,
honestly.
Image Comics, when Kirkman went to them and he was like, "I got the story. This is what it's about." They were like, "Oh, we don't do horror. Horror doesn't do well." DC had the same stance. Marvel had the exact same stance. Horror doesn't do well, and that's why you haven't seen really much horror since the 70s. But so he had to lie to them to get Walking Dead made. He had to tell them it had to do with an alien that comes later on in the show, and that's what caused it all, just to get it made. And then you see what a powerhouse that turned into. So
Right.
we don't have to worry about someone telling us what what won't work or will work. We don't have anyone standing over our shoulder telling us you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't draw
Right.
this, you can't draw that way. So that opens up the creativeness tremendously, in my opinion. And now especially, so much horror has come out of the indie world that has gotten attention that now you have Image Comics doing horror comics. You have
Right.
Marvel and freaking DC doing horror comics. So I mean, in general, horror has come a long way in the last.
Clearly, you are very passionate about horror.
Yeah, I love horror. So
The thing
and
is, it's very
I'm glad-
obvious. They get to push the envelope that they get to do things that if Marvel, DC's behind it, like, William, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's his own boss. He's like, damn right, I could do it, and I'm going to do it.
Which is a good. Clearly, it works for some people, but I was just gonna say, like, as like a little to that is working as a writer and or artist. It's great to not feel that limitation, constraint, pressure, or whatever, but it is also still necessary to have a good, reliable sounding board. So you're not just putting shit out that is shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I mean, the sad thing is there are, and I'm not bashing on anybody. They can create whatever they want. I don't pay their bills. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But there is a truth to the fact that there are a lot of indie that float around that their stories are shit. And the only thing selling in the book is the TNA on the covers. It just is what it is. I mean, I've talked to creators who sat there and straight up told me, "Hey, my book is garbage. If it wasn't for the TNA, it would not sell." I mean,
I'm done as fuck.
I've had a creator straight up tell me that.
Then why make it though? Then why make it? I don't get it. What's the point?
I mean, in all reality, at the end of the day, TNA sells and it does major numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not a dude, so I don't get it. But like when I constantly
you
see like boobs,
I don't get it
I'm
either.
like,
Amy, I don't get it either. I'm not a naughty nice guy either. I care less about.
You want to know something really funny? When you
not
say it that
interesting.
way, well, here's something that's really funny and unique with you saying it that way. A lot of the people buying a lot of those books are female.
Are they?
Yeah. In the
I
5
don't
years
get it.
I've been doing this as a professional artist, 99% of the commissions that I got from women were explicit commissions
Of women?
of women.
All
Well,
right.
I don't want a guy. I mean, in all reality, guy's body is ugly. It doesn't matter whether you're built or whether you're chubby or whatever it is. It's just compared to a
That is
woman figure.
factually incorrect.
No.
Men are beautiful.
Nah,
Men are beautiful.
Boring.
No, well,
it's and of course it's a preference thing, but yes, but no. Surprisingly enough, a lot of the people that buy those books are female. A lot of
That's wow.
the people that ask, and you talk to a lot of other artists, ask them too, and they'll tell you the majority of nude commissions they do for people tend to be female. So it's pretty funny that when you say it that way.
It is, and I'm not a prude. It's just like it's
No,
not
no.
fucking interesting to me. It's like, okay, boobs, and like I don't know.
I've done, naughty and nice covers, for Hardly Thin, et cetera, et cetera. When you're doing a job for a retailer, you're doing what you're asked to do, and I get that. But and like I said, they do sales, so I get that too with the psychology of the book. But for me personally, like it doesn't matter to me whether they're nude or not. It's just one of those things that. Exactly. Look at the mainstream. But
I'm not a.
Oh, here's. Hang on,
Aren't you though? Aren't you?
So it's one of those things that, like, I get it, I understand it, and I have to do it sometimes. But now even I have a line in the sand. I've turned down a lot of commit. Now here's the one where it tends to be men. Is when I get asked to draw a cover that looks like a Hustler mat cover.
Oh, okay.
That's when it's a men. Hey, can you draw a black cat and she's laying on the bed and her legs are this way and you got Mary Jane between them and
oh yeah, that right there.
And I won't do it. And it's not because I'm a prude or anything. I have no issues with nudity.
I have no issues with it either, but I don't want to draw it.
I don't get that shit. I've seen some artists draw some stuff that you're like, really, man?
I wouldn't want to draw
that's
it,
like
man.
whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
whatever gets you.
That's the dude.
Yeah, you're right. That's the dude, right?
That's the dude.
And the thing is, I'm not into the sexy stormtrooper. I'm not into the sexy Darth Vader. I don't get it. But once again, I will never talk shit to anybody who does collect that. That is your money, not mine. You're spending it. That's cool with me.
Yep. And I don't judge them for it. Like, I'm not going to sit back and go, oh, you bought one of those. I've got no problem with it. And like I said, if it's nudity and it's done sexy, I'll draw it. I have no issues with it. But I'm not going to do a Hustler cover. I've got 4 daughters, and I like being able to show my art online and stuff like that, and it doesn't cross any of those certain boundaries or whatever. What's up, Mr. Kira? I've got to have you on the show here soon too. Also, so I got to get with you. So there are things like that. But yeah, to get back to your original statement or question though, I think that's why indie is kind of blown up the way it has. Is no matter what avenue you're doing, is that freedom that you have to not have someone dictating every step that you got to take. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: since you mentioned that, like you don't read books, is it just a time thing, or are you just into the key collecting side of it? How come you haven't jumped on any of the indie books? And trust me, we appreciate you buying indie books. So even if you're not reading them,
you're talking to Amy, right?
No, I'm talking to you. You're
the one that doesn't read.
I was just fucking.
You know how to read now. I'm not judging now.
No, I just don't read. I just don't read it. This is very simple. It's very simple. It's a very simple thing. The only things I read are stuff that I really do have an interest in. And if it interests me, like for example, if I'm going to learn how to build a certain table, Look at this guy. Now he comes into the middle of my monologue.
Hey, what
Thanks,
happened to
Sean.
that toupee though, Sean? What happened to that?
Jesus, Sean.
You should have kept
Oh,
that. Hey,
I'm surprised he didn't do
telling
this.
you, man.
I'm surprised he's not doing this from his pool. So,
Just so he could piss some people
I
off.
couldn't get
Yeah,
the
right.
software to work.
if I'm gonna learn how to make a new table, I'm into that because it's something I'm interested in and part of woodworking or whatever.
He's a
it is,
cobbler.
right? Right,
Sure.
but anything else, I just don't. But
Yeah.
what I do like is the majority of the stuff that I do collect is Silver Age and early bronze because I like the history behind it. I like
Yeah.
the fact that people are like, well, why slabs? Why don't you like raw? I like to preserve history. I don't know what to tell you. It just looks good when I display, and I display a lot of my stuff. I display all of my stuff.
What a
Yeah.
smuck.
So I that's just the way I like it. And once again, people will talk. The purists will say you're encapsulating those books. You're entombing those books. They're meant to
I
be
love
read.
a slab. It's
You know what?
beautiful.
If I really wanted to read it, I'll buy the omnibus. I'll go do the digital, whatever, man. But I'm not gonna shit on you because you collect nothing but do you poo books. So don't shit on me
Right.
for collecting my slabs. That's
Yeah.
the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big believer in that. Is don't shit on other people's fandom, no matter what it is. I don't care if you collect shoes. It doesn't matter to me. I don't understand it, but that's okay. So let me give an introduction here real quick. Mr. Sean from Comics Elite. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Wrapped up a few things. Sorry I was a little delayed, but shit happens. Oh, hey, there's
No problem at all. We've been sitting here just talking about random stuff. So
Cool.
do me a favor, give a quick intro of who you are, your footprint in this industry, and what you've been doing, how long, and give us a little info on you.
Oh man, so
Other than the Magic Mike stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So I own Comics Elite, Comics Elite Live. They are two different businesses. I am managing owner of Merc Publishing, managing owner of Black Ops Publishing, managing owner of Legends Publishing. Was very proud founder and publisher when Artist Elite was up and running. And yeah, we do a lot of stuff, man. Whatnot, streams, Facebook live streams, conventions, all the things, all the stuff, lots of stuff.
Tons of variants.
Yeah, man, tons. At one
That was
point,
all?
we were the most.
Amy.
We did more DC variants and Dynamite variants in 1 year than any other publisher, so that was kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah,
lots
that's
of
definitely
stuff,
worth
man.
bragging about.
It
Well,
was
so
expensive.
one of the questions, so we'll jump right in on you guys because I'm only going to try to occupy you guys for about an hour tonight, maybe an hour and a half at the most. But I had these guys answer this question, so I'll give one up to you too for that question. And that was, what has been your, because we know about Marvel, we know about DC and all that, but we're kind of talking more about indie stuff. What has been your thoughts about the what I think is a massive growth over indie creations and indie publishing over the last 10 years or 10 years especially. What do you think about that? What do you think about the indie footprint that we have?
I think it's a long time coming. When you think about it, man, comics rode the wave of the MCU for a long time, right? So every first appearance that would come out, any whim of any character that was going to be in a Marvel movie, everybody went crazy for it. It became a key speculation of something someone getting casted. Anytime, remember these words, it got optioned. And all of a sudden it meant something.
Option.
Everybody would freak out. It got optioned. Oh my God.
Run
go
to
buy all the
eBay.
number
Run to
ones.
eBay. Go to all your stuff.
Yeah, man. Go to number one. It's optioned. Everybody needs hundreds of copies of it. It was, this is so overused and cliche, but it was like a 90s kind of collector's boom.
That's right.
Well, that brought in a ton of new fans, right? That brought in a ton of new comic book collectors. And some of those guys stuck around, and they kind of created the wave of these indie books. Don't get me wrong, it's still hyper competitive. I give hey Shikari, what's up, man? I give consultations all the time to people on Kickstarters, and people reach out to me for advice, and I had to tell the guy today it was tough, but I was like, dude, your comic it's not good. I'm sorry, it doesn't present well. The covers are boring. It's laid out bad. It's still hyper competitive, so it's not field of
Right.
dreams, build it and they will come type
Right.
thing where everybody's making money hand over fist. You still got to make a great product. You got to present it well. You have to build a fan base. You have to know marketing. You have to know sales. But now is the time, if you want to start your own comic and have it succeed in the space, now is the time for that, because people are ripe for it. Not only that, but not to get all political and stuff, but Marvel and DC have taken characters that we love and they've destroyed them.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I think, and I've heard plenty of people tell me at cons at my booth that, oh, I used to read this in Marvel, or I used to read this in DC, and now I just collect the old stuff. And now all I'm reading is like this new stuff coming out of indie publishing. And that's the problem they cite, because I've been in this business a long time. I've been around comics my whole life, but I've been in the business side of it for a long time, dealing with fans at cons and hearing their feedback and their opinions and stuff like that. And I've never once had a conversation with someone where they hated on a character concept idea just because it was a certain way. They hated on the fact that you're taking pre-established characters and you're trying to convert them. Because don't get me wrong, I understand as a creator also that it's very difficult to be original and come up with something that people might latch on to. And the easy route is, let me take this established character who has a fan base and then let me twist it into what I want it to be, because I don't want to do the work. So, I've never, because, and when people want to try to argue me with it every once in a while about that's the way fans are, they can't accept it, I always just throw Miles in their face. Because Miles Morales is extremely popular, and they did that character the right way. Even though he's a Spider-Man, they took this character, they created this character on his own 2 feet, and they gave him his own personality, his own being, and his own story and everything, and people fell in love with it. So I completely agree with you on that.
Well, he's one of the few from that wave that made it through.
That's right.
I mean, look at all the ones they tried to do. I mean, arguably, you could say that Miss Marvel made it through.
Riri Williams.
Riri
or Riri.
That's the other movie
all the way home. I mean, I wouldn't say she made it. She made it into a movie, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean she's made it. No one gives a crap about her.
Invincible.
Gwen made it through that phase, but there's a ton that just
Shikari.
Like no one cares about him, Oh my God.
That was a T2E2. Yeah, thank you for the kind words, by the way.
So it's definitely an interesting thing. You can't, and it's so weird whether you see it in the movies or in general, like stuff like Star Wars or Indiana Jones, etc. Whether you see it in those or you see it in comics being converted into TV shows and movies, it's such a weird thing to me to see these people come in and say, hey, we're going to create this. Now we're going to change all this to suit this 3% of people, but we're going to ignore the millions, the other 98% of the fan base. And it's such a weird thing to me, because you could literally take a comic book word for damn word on one of these storylines, pitch it into a script, into a movie, and as long as it's true to that, you got a successful movie. The fans will eat it up. I don't know. It's such a weird thing to me. Why do you think people do that now? Why do you think they're trying to tailor to this small percentage of people that probably isn't buying their product to begin with?
Yeah,
and ignoring the people that have done it for generations.
Well, I mean, I've talked about I've had this conversation so many times. It's straight up, bro. Turns into where. It's the people working in the industry. They've been hired and they've kind of taken over again, not to be conspiracy theorists, all this other stuff, but these people believe that I never forget when Superman, when they made Jonathan bisexual, right? The word was he's gay. And then I never forget, man, Donny Cates was in my store for a store appearance when that news broke out. And I happened to ask him, I was like, hey man, like, what do you think about this? And he's like, what do you want me to say? He's like, Tom King's my friend. He's like, it's about time. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing to say ever. What do you mean it's about time? That's the dumbest thing. It's about time.
That's an NPC response, not to be.
Well, and really, when you think about it, here's what it all boils down to is if you want to sell something, know your audience. Know your audience.
That's right.
What product are you making? Who are you sell it to? Right?
That's right.
There was a time out there when all everybody wanted was Venom. Venom, Venom, Venom. Everything's Venomized. I'll never forget Ryan Kincaid was in my store doing a sketch jam, and everybody wanted a character Venomized. Venomized Harley Quinn. Venomized this. Venomized that. Everything's Venomized. Then it turned into Batman Who Laughs was the hottest thing. Everybody was a this who laughs. I wanted that who laughs. A this who laughs. Everybody was a something that laughed. Right. Then it was the Spider-Verse. Everybody wanted the different spiders, and then it turned into Venomverse, and then there were all the verses, right? All the different versions of the characters. So there's waves that come in. Now we're in indie wave, and everybody likes the girly books.
Yeah.
You know, the naughty books are what sells for everybody. It's super hot. Go on any Whatnot stream, and everyone's trying to sell, except for the crappy ones that are doing the AI garbage. Don't get me started on that.
Oh my god.
You know, everyone's now that's what's hot. But know your audience. Clearly, these people who were making these comics for Marvel and DC didn't know their audience, and their sales showed. Their sales showed.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they showed, but they were virtue signaling, and they were like high-fiving each other. You know, like you ever? Here's a good analogy. How many times do you make a post? Do you see somebody, an artist, a creator, anybody will make a post of something, and it's not that great of an image. Art's subjective, I got it, right? But yeah, you can tell when something's good, something's not good. But everyone's commenting, this is the best thing ever. You're so amazing. You're the greatest. This is great. And I'm like, I just don't say anything. But you don't see people usually say, that sucks. That's terrible. And then whenever somebody does, if somebody is honest and says their opinion and says that's terrible, most people will have. And I'm not, you know, you're an artist, Russell, and so is AJ. But you know, some artists, if someone says one thing negative about a post, most artists have a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Oh, this person said it was bad.
It's horrible.
Don't come to my page spreading negativity. It's it's their opinion.
You mean I can't make a post on my page because one person said they didn't like my piece of art, so everyone can come to my page and pat me on the back and make me a pretty little princess again?
That's what everybody wants. So some people then in turn, but it's the same. But it comes full circle. It's the same thing with the creators of people that made this garbage at Marvel and DC for so long. When they're making Tim Drake bisexual, let's be honest, they really mean gay, right? They make him bisexual all of a sudden. It's
100%.
because they're just telling each other how great they are. They're telling each other how amazing they are. You're so great. You're so spectacular. They want to go to their friends and say, I'm the person that did this thing. Look at me. I did it. It's about time. It's about
acceptance,
time.
Sean. They want the acceptance. They want
the
they want
it's
conformity. They want conformity, and they want.
What I think a lot of it comes down to is they just want, like he just said, like I truly believe a lot of these people you see waving the little white flag, trying to white knight the shit up, they don't care about nobody. All they want is for you to look at them and go, oh, wow, look how above and beyond this person went for these other people. I've learned a long time ago, usually the person screaming the white knight shit the most is the one you got to watch.
Yeah. And you know, and so at the end of the day, long story short, too late. That's how we get to where we are is when these people are just telling each other how great they are. You know, it's no different from somebody putting up a crappy piece of whatever and everybody telling them how great they are. And then they tell everybody, oh, I think this cover will do fantastic. Why? Because everybody liked it. Well, okay, so you got a bunch of likes on Facebook. That doesn't translate into sales. But nobody tells them that. No one tells them the truth. They don't have anyone around them telling them the truth. They just have people, they ignore the sales data. Oh, the fans don't know. Those people don't. Know your market. Know your market. And when your sales suck, these people should be getting fired. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
It's funny you say that, Sean. I always tell people, it reminds me of American Idol when it first started, when you have those bad singers go up to the judges and sing, and they go, "Who told you could sing?" My mom, my dad, my best friend. Basically, everyone who said you sound great because they don't want to say you sound like shit.
Yeah, my music teacher who I pay tells me I'm great.
And what do? They go on with that. I'm so good. I'm so great, and they go and actually go in front of somebody who has a voice, who has an opinion, and say, "You shouldn't continue. You should continue doing this."
Yeah,
it doesn't happen enough.
So if I could for just a second throw in my commentary on that, is coming from somebody who originally started in video games, that was my original passion. I have a tattoo of the Elder Scrolls 3 on my back. Okay, like I'm a big time nerd girl. And now coming into the indie comics and comic space here, there's a lot of parallels with what happened in the video game industry and the comics industry. It's just comics is about 10 to 15 years behind. We had Gamergate, you know, back around 2010, where that industry really started to become ideologically captured. And it's pretty simple. It's that people who were graduating college who had the credentials that the industry thought that they wanted, because to be completely 100% honest with you, the old hands of those industries were not people who went to college, because it had been such a new industry in the 80s and 90s. Anybody who could program, anybody who could make an asset, anybody who could write a script, anybody who could do da-da-da was getting hired. So when the industry evolved 10 years later, they wanted college graduates. Well, these people brought their ideology with them that they learned on these college campuses. Now, comics is experiencing the same turnover in age, and the exact same thing is happening. You know, we have Comicsgate, where it's becoming ideologically captured. But the really good thing about all of this for us and for everybody involved in the industry is that, just like with Gamersgate, it blew the industry for indie creators wide open. Before Gamersgate, nobody really paid attention to indie games, and now it's a huge part of the market, and it's extremely validated by everybody, and it's nothing to be sniffed at. It's very respectable. And now that's doing the same thing for indie comics. So I, for one, love it, and I love watching them implode, in the sense that, like, they are shitting on their own consumers, because it brings people to the indies who can rise above and produce good content. You know what I'm saying? But it's very similar, and they live in their hug boxes. A lot of it is the writers. The writers typically tend to be a little bit younger and a little bit more educated than some of the artists and so on and other contractors. So they're a little bit more enmeshed in the ideology. And if you can control the writing, then obviously you're literally controlling the fucking narrative. And that's just unfortunately how it's always been. Writing, even 20 years ago when I was in fine arts, writers as a whole, as a group, always were a little bit more avant-garde, let's say, than visual artists.
Yeah.
And I want to piggyback on that a little bit. It's like what you were saying, that they're getting younger. They're focusing on a lot of more networking and drawing attention because of, I don't know how. So my thing is, I think their writing has gotten a lot worse, and they don't want to work on that. They prefer to attract people not by their writing skills, but the pretty pictures. They want to show off. We're part of. We're defending this culture. We're defending that race. We're defending their sexuality, and rather than focusing on the comic itself and the writing itself, where the writing back then would basically, that would be enough. Some couple of cool art in the front, great writing, people would be captivated by that. But now it's more of like visual buyers. I mean, I'm one of them. If I see an awesome cover, I will buy it, not knowing what the book is about.
Well, yeah, majority. I agree with that. Majority of people, if you don't have a good cover, you can't read. Right. You can't read the cover.
Yeah.
You know, so what the cover draws. My philosophy is the cover draws them in for issue 1, right? The cover draws people in. Now you can't have your covers be 2-story, however it won't sell, right? So the cover draws them in, and the story brings them back for issue 2, issue 3, issue 4. That keeps them going. But sales also drive action. So people complain sometimes about, well, they're always rebooting with an issue number 1. They're always, series don't get up to issue 47 anymore. Right. Because unless, one of the best things Marvel's done in recent history is the legacy numbering. That's one of the best ideas they've had. But there's a reason why they reboot things with issue number 1 all the time, because sales go through the roof. Well, if people complain about it, I'm like, well, you bought it, which means your comic shop ordered it, which means they keep making them. Yep. So people buy. I hate all these variant covers. All these variant covers are terrible. If people didn't buy them,
they wouldn't be making them.
Exactly.
know your audience, right, Sean?
And I really know your audience.
I hate that damn argument too. Like I have to ignore some of these posts, because that one I'm real passionate about, and I want to throw my 2 cents on every time, because normally, most of the time I don't say anything on anybody's anything, and I let people. You can think how you want. I'll think, and we're fine. And you collect how you want, and it's fine. But the variant one, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I do want your feedback. That was one of the topics I wanted to talk about, because variants are a huge part of this right now. And from a business standpoint of it, it's great business. And then from a artist standpoint on it, it's a great avenue, because it has given a lot of us the opportunity for the public to see our work in published form without having to, be ignored by the big three and stuff like that, because it's so hard to get into those areas without knowing someone, or whatever. So, in the way I view variants, I don't give a shit how many there are. If you don't like them, don't buy them. That is such a weird argument to me when I see someone arguing on the negative of variants and how they hate it. And it blows my mind. I'm like, okay, so we're only supposed to collect how you want us to collect?
Oh yeah, that's another thing that's like I just caught the end of that. Like, you like your slabs?
Yeah.
You know what? I have a saying. I'll never stop saying this. Buy what you like, collect what you want. Don't listen to the haters.
Yep.
There's always someone out there. My wife has a saying. It's so funny. She says, "Don't yuck my yum." Every time she's like, "I love Brussels sprouts," and I go, "That's disgusting." She goes, "Don't yuck my yum." It's true.
Yeah,
you
don't
like
yuck
it?
my
That's
yum.
cool. Eat it. But I'm like, that's gross. It's like, you know what? Do I need to say it's gross? So I know her. It's fine. But if I don't need to be someone that's like, you grade all your comics? That's stupid. Why would you do that? Well, I don't need to hear your stupid opinion. You can just keep scrolling.
Exactly.
Right? I love when someone wants to jump in and say something about something, and it's like, this cover is terrible. You could have just kept scrolling. You didn't have to stop.
Well,
take the time.
yeah.
Type in, "This cover sucks." You know what? I'll
It
just
takes
block
so
you.
much. It takes more energy to do that than it is just to keep on going, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that it takes a lot of energy to be negative.
Yeah.
It does.
It really does. I mean, you actually have to think about it, get the energy to say it, type it out, and then wait to see what the reaction
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But William, you're absolutely correct too, because I've said this 1,000 times. Some of the best covers we've ever gotten, some of the best images of all time, arguably, have been from store variant covers.
Yep.
Specifically, look at the big two. Look at the plethora of covers. I have many disagreements with how some of these guys do business, but you cannot deny that back in the early days, some of those Tyler Kirkham covers that were done through Unknown Comics are probably some of the best Venom covers that were ever produced.
Yep.
Straight up. Look at some of those Delato covers he did for the Dark Knight series when that first came out, that Bulletproof was doing. Those are probably some of the best Batman images that have ever been created, arguably. And they all come from store variants, because otherwise you're not going to get a chance to see those, right?
I think it gives them a little more freedom too, because I would imagine, and I don't know if this is accurate. Of course, I'm just kind of imagining this is kind of how it would be different when you're dealing, even though it still has to be approved. When it seems like it may be a little bit looser in approval situations when they just got to approve a store variant for someone compared to the mainstream book like cover A.
Well, yes and no. So, and again, it all goes in waves. So back in the day, and all it takes is, of course, people are going to push to do whatever they can, right? So when I was first doing Marvel and DC covers, I just got tired of being told no all the time, and it got worse and worse and worse. Pretty soon you had to draw girls that looked like 13-year-old boys. They had to have no sexuality, no shape to them, no figure, no form, flat chested, no sexuality, just standing there. And look at some of look at the most recent Harley Quinn issues that came out there. This drove me nuts. They completely desexualized Harley Quinn, who is a very sexual character. That was part of her identity. That was part of her. So look at her early covers. That was part of her. When they took the Goblin Queen, right, Madeline Pryor, when they took her and they took away her underboob, I was like, okay, we've gone too far. Like, she can't have underboob. Like, come on, man. She's supposed to be the dark side of Madeline Pryor, who's a clone of Jean Grey, blah blah blah, right? Well, that's her dark side of her that's supposed to explore that side, blah blah blah, and they took all that away from him. Yeah. Anyway, so it got so bad. That's what kind of motivated me to start making my own comics. I was like, I got so tired of being told, no, you can't do this.
You go.
You can't put that on a cover. You can't put this on a cover. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to I started doing tons of books with Marat, doing tons of Naughty and Nice, Harley Thins, Do You Poos. We did tons and tons and tons of those books. So many artists really arguably got their break doing some of those covers. We would just troll through DeviantArt, Instagram, look for an artist. I think I found a new artist, right? And then eventually I was like, you know what? Like, I think I can make my own books. I
Yeah.
can make my own comics. I have cool ideas too. And sure enough, during COVID, you know, me and Jamie would meet up. He lives in St. Louis, Missouri. I live in Indianapolis. We would meet in Illinois to exchange signatures and books and do stuff.
Right.
And we were having talks about, wouldn't it be cool if this character existed? Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And I was like, you know what? Why don't we just do that? Like, I can do all the fulfillment. We can do this. We can do that. We have the ability. Let's do it. So then Merc's born and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, I'm like, now I can literally do anything I want to. Nobody can tell me no. The way I suffer is if sales. If I do something that's stupid and terrible, I'll lose money.
Yeah.
I'll lose money. I work for the fans. That's who I work for. The only one that can tell me no is people that don't buy from my website and uncover bombs.
Yep.
Now I'm like, well,
There you go.
lesson learned. I guess they don't like that image, or they didn't like that artist, or whatever, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
So
what
be
I
it.
try to
It-
tell
it-
people.
yeah.
It's like every bit of it's subjective. You know, you're going to have your true fans, your hardcore fans that buy anything and everything you do. Then you're going to have your occasional fans that just grabs the certain ones they really like the cover art for or whatever, or just trying to help out, et cetera, et cetera. And so as long as you're making it about your fans, in my opinion, in the indie department of it, you shouldn't really have too much of a problem. Because I mean, the fans are what make every bit of this possible. I'll never be able to wrap my head around some of these elitists with this "don't you know who I am" attitude and showing up late and skipping out early, and you know, while people are sitting there trying to get signatures, but they want to go, you know, they want to go over to you know, Elvis Presley's house and make everybody 3 hours late while they go view that shit and people standing at the con waiting on them. But anyway, I'll never understand that shit. So I mean, the fans are 100% what makes every bit of it worth it in my mind. So
Well, that's their agent's fault to do that stuff. They set signing times up through 2-hour windows, and they back the lineup around the booth 7 times. And you know, when someone's only going to be there for 2 hours, oh look, I have a line. Of course, you're only going to be there for 2 hours because you make everybody wait in a line instead of doing the responsible thing and sitting at your booth for 8 hours and working. And so someone doesn't have to wait in a line for 7 hours to get your signature. Be at the booth. Do your job. You're there to do, you know.
yeah, you're there to be on time. You're
Very
there to
douchey
be
thing
a
to
fan.
do.
These people paid their hard-earned ass money to walk through the door to see you. Show up, be
People are-
present, and be polite.
People are douchey.
Shikari,
period.
what do you mean Shikari exactly? Which one? There's a lot of art stealers out there, man. That's a whole
Yeah,
other
yeah,
topic.
yeah.
We don't want to talk about that.
Better,
We can go
Yeah,
down
we had
rabbit
one
holes
on
here.
our
We'll be on
show.
here for 7 hours talking about.
yeah. We
all the
had one on
different
our
rabbit
show
holes, Doc.
talking about someone stole like an art germ piece, right, Dell? And
Oh,
they
that
said
was
they
a-
did it almost. They did it almost in front of their face. It was so quick, you know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
do
Well, I
it.
know
It's weird.
Paolo Pantanella did that for that DC cover. The Hell, what her name was, the Wildcat Wildstorm character.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm forgetting it. I know what you're talking about though.
Actually,
really
Sean, that was a different conversation that Caesar talking about,
that's what
but
the
we
conversation-
talked about that conversation as well. He
Yeah.
was talking about some random person physically stealing an art germ, like he just drew
literally
something,
stealing.
and they were
art
talking,
off the table.
they were talking Corey and art, and all of a sudden, it disappeared.
Oh, they
I'll-
literally physically stole art.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
No, physically
know.
it stole. He was sitting there. Yeah, no, two different things. You know, physical stealing
Yeah,
and
there's
stealing somebody's.
you know
actual
what?
property.
There's shitty
Yeah.
people everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that kind of crap. You always, it's so sad when you hear that. There's always some con where somebody talks about some $30,000 slab they had behind the booth got stolen because they weren't looking, and
Yeah.
it's so sad, man. Whenever that happens, you can't trust people.
Like you gotta have that armed guard at your.
That's what happened in
Yeah.
MegaCon, right, William? Where you were at? I mean, you didn't see it, but you were there at MegaCon when they stole that AF-15 off of that one person.
Yeah. I was there when that happened. I mean, I wasn't near that.
Wow.
table.
No shit.
Yeah, somebody had an
AF-15.
stolen at MegaCon while I was there. Like it happened at that event.
Wow.
If I got those kind of slabs, I'm hiring
I'm-
an armed
somebody-
guard to stand there.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if I had an AF-15 in the booth, I'll be wearing it around my neck like
Yeah.
Flavor Flav. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
either I'm carrying it around like down the front of my pants to keep it safe,
Yo,
or
Yeah.
or I'm hiring somebody to
Damn.
stand there and watch it.
Yeah, apparently
That's
somebody
crazy.
called under their cage thing or something and got it out. That's like the story we heard. But I'm like, part of me
Wow.
wants to scratch my head and go, Really?
You know, there's idiots. I'm sure you go to any convention, any kind of show, any convention, there's going to be thieves anywhere you go to.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to watch your ass. You got.
If I went to your house, William, I would steal your Harley Quinn statue. Just
I won't-
saying.
To match with the Joker that you have.
I want my Joker.
go
Yeah,
You got
together.
my Joker.
I got 2 Jokers. I'll sell you
I
one.
need one, man. Damn, you don't
I
need
need a Harley
two.
Quinn.
I only have one though.
Well, that sounds like a William Russell problem. I'm just playing.
That's funny.
Actually, my oldest daughter would probably shank both of us if I got rid of that statue.
That's a really cool Harley Quinn, though. Those
Hey, Will.
life-size busts are really cool.
It is absolutely.
Well,
cool.
I got a question for you, Will.
Yeah.
Did you cut your hair because you felt bad for Sean for not having any hair?
Oh,
There, I almost spit. That was close.
More
But
people feel left out. So
I got you. Me too. Look at that, Sean. Right
Hey,
through there.
this is my choice, man. I can grow hair. Don't let the ball of hair fool you. I got to shave this
Yeah,
shit
there you go,
3 times
Sean.
a week.
all right, sorry about that. Okay, where's the
To make me
camera?
take my shirt off, show you what
There
hair
you
looks
go.
like.
oh nice.
Hey.
But see, I got a few.
Okay, nice. Look at you. I like it.
Oh, this guy.
Okay. Look at you. Nice.
And then there's two giant sideshow boxes sitting in the living room as a coffee table.
Nice.
Hey,
Oh,
Sean,
I have
weren't you gonna cosplay for one of your covers, Sean?
Fuck no. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong or some shit like
You
that.
read it wrong, bro.
He's doing don't let him lie to you. I've already seen the cover. He's doing a Magic Mike cover. Don't let him lie to
I
you.
wouldn't be surprised.
He had his
Hey,
little American
hey.
flag thong on and everything.
Mhm.
Hey, you know how you're talking.
Creed.
Hey, don't tell me your fantasies.
Hey, it's like college all
You're
over.
tempting
You just
Sean.
breathe. You got to
Tempting
breathe.
Sean with a good time, man.
I thought
they
you were
are-
supposed to market to your customers, Sean.
I was just gonna say they say know your audience, man. I
Know
got
your
no
market.
audience for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, so
I'd be better off. I'd sell more copies doing a topless cover of Adele.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd sell more
don't be
covers of that
judging.
than it would
Know your market. Know your
Yeah,
market.
know my
You're
market.
It's big boy season there all
be. There
time.
you go.
Hold on a
Yeah.
second. Let me find the link. I'll give you guys Sean's OnlyFans link. Hold on.
Hey, let me know if you got one because I should be getting a cut of that if somebody's got one out there.
Well, I've just been downloading all his pictures. He's getting a lot of hits on the site. So
It happens.
I'm gonna go to his store and buy the Joker statue with his money. So
There you go. That's what I do.
But
I
so
lay around.
I do
lay
have
around
a,
naked with my statues.
there you go. I do have a serious topic for you that I do want y'all's feedback on because, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse here on this particular, and this will be the last time we'll talk about it on any future shows. Because from this point forward, anybody that I've got to have an argument with about on it, I'm just going to block them from now on. And I'm done. I'm done explaining because we've all explained this topic to many times on videos, posts, etc. We've all shared our stance on it, and that's the AI bullshit.
Oh,
So, and again, I'm sorry to bring up,
that's okay.
but the reason I'm bringing up this time is because with it being this show, I do want it in the history books for this show on YouTube and Facebook, and having podcasters, a new creator, and then a vet that's been around, creating comics and running a store, et cetera, dealing with artists firsthand on 100,000 damn covers. So the argument I keep seeing people wanting to have, especially most recently, was someone trying to argue that it's not stealing, and which we already know that is. Even the creator of the app has admitted, of how he collects the images with their data system and it goes into their
Right.
program.
Right.
So that's hard to argue that. So the next thing now they're trying the argument I'm seeing people have, since they can't have that argument no more per se, is it's no different than a digital artist. It's no different.
What?
Oh yeah, that's the new one. And
Yeah, I
so
saw that.
my personal stance on it is I don't give a shit what way it is. The current state of AI prompters and apps is straight up thievery. I've made it clear, like I don't have an issue with someone using a tool to make their job easier. There's lots of artists out there who can, including myself, who can sit down and draw your likeness to photo quality and spend 25, 30 hours to do it. But I don't have any problem with those portrait artists grabbing up their light box, printing out your face or Harrison Ford or anyone else, drawing the line drawing of your face, because they still spend another 4 hours creating the textures, the lighting, the shadows, etc., etc.
Right,
I don't have
right.
with someone using a tool to make things better. So
It's called reference. We've always fucking done it since we've existed.
We've all used reference to a degree and things like that. We've done homages, so it's not about that. So if the AI stuff had come out and they were targeting us as their main audience, and they said, hey, here's this AI generator. Now, it's not connected to anything per se. You can load all of your art into it, and then you can word prompt it to spit out something that's based off of your art. I would not have had an issue with that in any way, shape, or form, because at the end of the day, like Drew Struzan said, time is money. And even though I can sit there and draw Harrison Ford face for 10 hours, I've got 5 other people to put on that painting. And so I'm going to break out the damn projector. So, so I get that. But that's not what they did. We are not the ones they were aiming for. What is your take on that? Just so everyone understands your viewpoint on it. How you have taken a hardcore stance against it, just like other creators have done, and other retailers and Comic Cons have started to do. So
I'll jump on it. I want to jump on it because I got to leave soon.
Okay.
Because I have to go back to work. But before I do, my stance is I am 100% against AI being used as a form of saying you're an artist. If you say you're an AI artist, automatically you're bullshit, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
The only time I'm okay with it, if you're going to use it for your own personal thing, to make your TikTok, to make your own profile picture of yourself, but just you and yourself, even though you're understanding that it is still illegal, like it's going to be used. But if that's the only way I can, like, okay, I can whatever, turn my head, turn a blind eye. Yeah. But if utilizing to make prints and sell them, to commission pieces and utilize AI art, call yourself an AI artist, and that I'm 100% against that, 100%. So that was my quick. I'm gonna stay a little bit longer, but I want to see everybody else, and I want to say my opinion.
And bounce off. Thank you for being here. Just in case I don't get to tell you before you bounce off.
Let me interject because I'm leaving in 15 as well. A 5-year-old can say, if he knows how to type, Batman wrestling with and then is he considered now an AI artist? And his dad's going to print out his stuff. And look at what my 4-year-old son came up from his own imagination. I hate it. And the fact that people can profit off that, it drives me crazy, because there's so many newbies in this community that go, oh my gosh, that's fantastic art.
Yeah.
Yep. I have bins of them. What do you want? I could tell you want Superman arm wrestling Sentry. I'll have one for you next week. Come back to my booth. I'll have that for you. So it drives me crazy, because there's so many new people out there who thinking this is real, until you educate them with the fingers and the eyes and the way the hair is wacky and all that stuff, and
or flip it horizontally.
It's horrible. So we are, and especially the podcasters, we will not support it. We have too many of our friends who are artists, and we support them and only them. And anyone who comes in and spitting out AI stuff could go suck on that.
Yeah. And of course, Sean, with you being a retailer and stuff like that, like I said, I know you got a hard stance on it, and we definitely appreciate you for that. But so what do you think about that? Because I think that's a good point too, about the new artists, like the legit new guys coming in trying to learn, and then they're seeing this shit and they go, wow, I can knock 20 years of time off here.
Well, shame on them if they think that's an avenue. Firstly, so AI in its current form, right, should not be used, right? It should not be supported, used, sold by anybody, period, because it's just theft. It's stealing, right? Now, we can get into a whole slippery slope of different things. For example, let's say William draws a picture of Harley Quinn and has it at his booth. You don't own Harley Quinn, you're stealing that, blah blah blah. Well, there's different laws between there's difference between parody and fair use and other things that protect that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
AI is completely a different universe, right? So, as we all know, and sadly, there's a lot of people out there that will say, "Well, I don't really know enough about AI to know one way or the other." It's like, well, then it's your job to educate yourself, or you can't say, "I support AI, I like AI, I think it's great." Well, do your research on it, right?
Yeah.
It's just go to Google and type it in. It's not hard
One
to
hundred
find
percent,
things out.
Shakari. Good point.
Yeah, ignorance is the worst. So anyway, in its current form, it steals existing art to generate images. I use the term loosely because they're terrible, most of them.
Yeah.
Facts.
And you know, anyone so if a retailer will sell it and if a publisher will use it, you are devaluing the literally years it takes to learn anatomy,
100%.
composition, perspective, lighting, shading, all the shit that you guys go through. And my hat's off to you artists, because I can't draw shit. I'll tell you
Aw,
right
thank
now.
you.
Well, I can draw a lot of shit and it looks like shit. But you can't, it takes so much talent, training, hours and hours and hours of practice to generate an image. Anybody that thinks they can just go and type in some words and get an image. Oh, so I'll answer that in a second, sir. Mr. Delgado, Mrs. Delgado, Mr. Person.
Sure.
Anyone that's willing to sell or promote that generation of an image is devaluing every artist that's worked, trained, educated, suffered, et cetera, et cetera. So before I go on a little bit, let's answer this to how can you tell? So it's sometimes to the uneducated eye, it's difficult to tell. You got to ask.
Yeah.
It's incumbent upon every single person to ask, who's the artist? Oh, the artist is this person. So what's been happening lately is, and I don't mind, do you mind if I say some specific people? I don't want to ambush people.
This is William's show.
So there's one person,
Don't worry, they'll
out
be
there.
listening to me, so you're fine.
So now I usually won't go after people until I talk to them directly. And I've talked to a few artists that have used AI and they've kind of backed off of it. I have a big saying, don't talk about people, talk to them. Right. I've tried to talk to this individual, and I've just been blocked from their whatnot streams. So there's a seller out there. Melinda's Comics is her name.
Oh yeah.
And she has been selling a lot of AI art. And whenever somebody asks her who is the artist, she either ignores them or she says, "Oh, it's from my publishing company." I use the term loosely. It's from my publishing company, and or she's made up this fake artist name that doesn't exist.
Holy shit.
Oh shit.
So-
This
Wow.
is catfishing to the
And
nth
if you
degree.
search this artist, again, use the term loosely, if you search this artist's name, it doesn't exist. It doesn't come up,
Holy
right? It's just not a person.
Shit.
So, and what's even sad is that CBSI put one of her covers up on their top 10 list.
Good point.
Now they did list a bunch of things in there. They put covers from Farrar's Lounge, Shikari, other stuff like that are hot, but they chose to use that image of her, and I assume it's their ignorance. I hope there's not, a simp over there working for CBSI that's all over her, trying to, give her credit, which is not too far off. It could be, who knows, right? So, it's incumbent upon every seller to know what you're selling. Know what you're selling. If the day ever comes, one person almost got a cover bias at Merc. Murphy brought an artist to me. This person's fantastic. Oh my God. They even put a video up of their progress to show the proof of what they do. Well, I actually sent it to Shikari. We spent a long time looking through this person's stuff, and he showed me to the T in the video. He said, right there, pause it. That's when it changes to all AI. He said they have a brush off to the side that you can't see, that they're just changing images based on what's already there. And I'm seeing now, with the help of Shikari, he's helped me recognize a lot of this crap. There's so many fake progress pics out there.
Yep.
There's
Mhm.
another artist. I'm not
Yeah.
ready to call him out publicly yet, but he knows who he is. I've talked to him directly. This person's art's taken a drastic turn and gotten amazing.
Yeah.
Now this person claims they have a colorist, a fantastic colorist that works in the game industry, and they can't say his name because they're under contract in the video game industry and they can't say their name. I said, hey man, just send me their work. Just send it to me, man. Like, I just, not that I'm the god that needs to be appeased, but I was like, bro, just send me their profile, bro, so I can just kind of see. And he sent me a bunch of crap. I was like, this is not a person that works in the game industry. This is garbage art, like whatever it was. It was not to the level that he's doing it. And I'm like, this is totally AI. No, it's not. I know this guy. He would never lie to me. And then sure enough, and it's signed under one name on some covers, and then it's a different name under another cover, and it's just all crap. And I've talked to this guy, and I've been like, look, man, you got to stop doing this because this is a fake name. Like, and oh, this is the artist name, and it's a totally made up artist. There's no art out there from this person. Oh, he has to work under a pseudonym, and it's just so crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
Shikari, it's good now. Can you see me? Am I synced?
You look fine to me.
So Miss Delgado, and by the way, she's a big fan of art and a huge supporter. So I'm glad she's here. Thank you to everybody that's come out to chat with us. But yeah, usually the telltale signs with the AI is the fingers are wonky, things like that. The lighting doesn't match.
Hair.
It's not
On
consistent.
either side, yeah.
I've seen eye that's kind of little. Looks like they have a cataract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Get
so,
wonky,
but I'll
but-
tell you, man, Caesar, AI is getting better and better and better. It's growing. I'd say we can't deny this, guys. We are in a revolutionary time in the
Yep.
world. Period. I was on Chat GTP the other night messing around with it, doing some stuff, and I was
Oh no,
blown
ChatGPT. That's a whole
away.
different other topic.
I was
And
like,
it works.
what? And
Yeah. I use it.
the art's not far behind being able to do
Yeah.
certain things with it. And I don't know if you guys saw or not, but the Supreme Court actually passed a very important law about AI art. Long story short, you only can copyright the parts that you've altered.
Yep.
So you basically have to go in there and redraw it or repaint over the whole thing, and then you can say that you own it. So what I've seen some people do is they'll use AI to say, give me like a base frame or give me a layout or a composition, and then they'll almost like a program like these pre-existing programs that have the models in them, like DAZ and these other programs where you can get a girl that's doing this, and then you can move her arms around and change her face and buy a different face pack and make her face look a certain way. Is real big in the gaming world, right? You should know that, the gaming people,
the 3D modeling,
the
or
3D
whatever it
model
is.
stuff.
Yeah.
People will take that and then they'll just paint over it, draw over it, and it's already 90% done. And all of a sudden you have a Spider-Gwen because you made her pink. We give her a pink hood or something.
ZBrush, yeah, ZBrush 100%. I was going to say that. That's so funny. I didn't even know that was still irrelevant. I learned that in college a million years ago. Let me just say something about the AI because I didn't get a chance yet. And you guys pretty much covered everything, and I'm totally in lockstep with everything, especially what you said, Sean, about how it's very disrespectful to the career and the craft. And we already have a lot of people. You can't throw a stone anywhere without hitting somebody who's going to shit talk an artist and be like, you charge too much or blah, blah, blah. They already don't give enough credit where it's due, and that's fine, whatever, that's their prerogative. Because there's also always going to be the people who do respect it, and thank you to them. But the one little thing I will say about the AI is that I think that it's I'm personally not threatened by it because I don't see it as an issue. I don't see it as a threat. And I also think that it will be something that's going to be corrected here in a really short time because I went to school, I graduated like over 10 years ago, and I was in college for 6 years. And even in the early mid 2000s, if you were to say write a research paper or an opinion or an essay or whatever, your professors would run it through a plagiarism counter. and it would shoot back a response that said the percentage of likelihood certain things were plagiarized by. I believe that something will come out like that for AI that will be able to determine if it's AI and what percentage is AI based on the information in the image itself.
Yeah.
So, and I think that will come extremely quickly as a response to the, all of the outrage and the shit about it, because a lot of people don't like it. Yeah. So I think that when that happens, that'll be very fun, because then you can retroactively probably enter a lot of art into this algorithm, and it'll be like, that's not real. So that's all I'll say about that. And I fully expect that to happen within about 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, I hope so.
I want to add, because I'm going to be bouncing off.
Yeah.
Sean, you are absolutely correct. There's been a couple of times I've seen art and I do a double take, right? And I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. Okay, there's 5 fingers, right? They all seem correct. And then there's something going on. You're like, I think this is AI, but you're right. Just look progress. Everything keeps getting better. Everything else. Listen, guys, I'm gonna run.
I thank you, Caesar.
Best for your first show. This is pretty good, man. This is all right. I dig this. I
appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Listen, Amy, if you haven't seen her stuff, she did my logo for the Instagram. For the Instagrams, The Real Dracula's Wolf. She did my logo, so if you see it, Sean, I message him once in a while because I talk shit. There you go. That's her word. Cool. That's kind of cool, man.
Thank you.
And Caesar, be sure to put your social media stuff on the video too, please.
Yeah. I'll log in right now and I'll go in as a thing. And Sean, I hit him up once in a while because I'm like, Sean, somebody's already yelling at you, and what the fuck's going on here? That's what I'm saying. There's always something going on Facebook, man. Someone's always yelling at somebody for no apparent reason. And Sean, you know what?
Jump in any pool. To be yelled at.
Sean, jump in any pool, my brother. Jump in any pool you want, man. It's perfectly fine. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, man.
Have a good night, man. But yeah, we'll definitely wrap this up because I don't want to hold you guys up all night. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the easiest ways for me to spot it recently, because it is getting better. Like you said, the hands are starting to actually work, and now it's just more of the lighting and things like that. Is one of the things you can do, in my opinion, is look at a digital colorist, one of the top dogs in the industry, Sinclair, someone like that. Look at, their colors and then hold that other one next to it. And when it looks like it's computer generated, it's computer generated. Because to me, there's a difference. Like there's a difference between the way digital colors look compared to way computer generated colors look.
Very limited palettes, very darkly colored. I'm telling you though, if you horizontally flip a lot of the AI images, even the ones that look good, they look all fucking wonky when you just simply do that.
Yeah. But so Sean, give us like I said, I don't want to hold you guys up much longer, but give us some ideas because I do want your just a quick little feedback from you. How has your experience been moving from a retailer, doing all these incredible covers and everything, running your own brick and mortar store and stuff like that? How's it been switching from gears with that? I mean, you still do that, but I mean, switching over and doing the whole publishing side of it.
It's fun and incredibly challenging. I mean, every day. So every week, I would say, is every week's a knife fight to stay alive. Yeah. Like every week you're trying to pay, because everything you do, now you need to add staff. And then adding staff means you got to hire human beings. Human beings have feelings and emotions, and some of them are very lazy and don't want to work, and some of them are fantastic. Finding and hiring the right people is an enormous challenge. Yeah. Getting herding cats basically is kind of what it is. Like, the art's got to get done, and the colors and the letters, and this has to work right. And then who's doing this and who's doing that, and when's this going to be done, and where's this page? And oh man, I could go on and on and on. It's an enormous challenge, but it's also incredibly satisfying to get that finished product. Here's one right here. So get that product that, hold it in your hand, Miss Me on #1, and seeing it and like, man, this is my thing. Like I did this. This is my comic. This is, man, I did this. This is so cool. William, you understand what that's like.
Yep.
It's so cool to finally have it, and then the challenge becomes getting people to give a shit about this.
Yeah.
Because I have another saying I tell everybody all the time: nobody cares.
Nope.
Nobody cares. Hey guys, I did a thing. Cool,
Right.
man.
Nobody cares. We all doing things.
We're in the age nowadays where everybody is all about clout. Everybody just wants clout. I did this. Look at this. Look at me. Look at me. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, all those likes and all those comments don't put money in your bank account. They don't put food on your table. They don't create a legacy for your family. It doesn't do anything. It just gives you a bunch of likes and views that don't matter. Nobody cares, right? So, it's been incredibly challenging being a retailer and having the knowledge of just the frustrations of Diamond, and then seeing Lunar come up, and that really helped me make the decision to go, because way before Image did it, we were exclusively to Lunar. We never went through Diamond. We never even thought about Penguin, anybody else. I was Lunar all the way. I was like, will you please carry our stuff? You're the only distributor I want to carry our stuff for all the companies, Merc, Artist Elite, and Legends. You're the only one that I want to do it. So follow me on Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges, but a lot of fun. Another hard challenge, and you know this too, Russell, is saying no to people, because I get so many people that just have, and I'm just going to call it like it is, crappy, terrible comics. And they're like, hey man, will you publish my thing? And I'm like, no. They're like, why? And I'm like, because it's terrible. Like, honestly, bro, like, just because, another saying, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah.
Right. I can make a comic. People tell me all the time, I wrote a comic. Awesome, man. I don't want to know what it's about. I don't want to know what happens in it. All I want to know is what's your writing background. I wrote a comic. What's your writing background? How do you know? How do you qualify to write a comic?
Yeah.
Have you written anything else? Did you study writing? Do you know what the hero's journey is? Tell me what the hero's journey is. I don't know. Well, then why are you writing a story about a hero?
Yeah.
You don't even know the basics of writing a story, right? Well, but it's a guy that does a thing and he does another thing and he's got another thing, and nobody cares. Nobody cares, right? Who's your artist? You know how many covers are just a dude standing? Oh, I got some cool covers. Cool, it's a dude standing.
Yep.
Awesome. Dude standing cover.
Yep.
Or a dude jumping.
Two of my covers are a dude standing.
Dude standing. Cool, man.
Little more.
There's nothing wrong with the dude standing.
Character,
but is there something? What's the other element to the dude standing? This is really just a chick sitting. It's a chick sitting.
The colors are beautiful. I love that. Yeah, dude standing.
Dude standing.
You need my dude standing alone.
Well, he is, but on your cover, here's what I would argue why that cover is good. There's dramatic lighting. He's framed by the lightning, pushes him forward. He's standing still amongst this tempest of a storm on a rooftop. That cover makes me curious about the dude. What's up with this dude, man? I want to know more about that dude. He looks cool as shit, right? This
gotta matter.
Hopefully this makes people think, wow, that's a hot ass cover, right? I got Arrow D's. I keep grabbing it because it's the one that's here. Anyway, so I could go on and on, but saying no is very difficult to people, and telling people that same thing when you're buying collections. The hardest thing about buying a collection is telling somebody what their comics are really worth.
Yeah,
Like,
and then
your
also
comics-
you're telling it from the and that makes that difficult because you're telling it from someone the same way with a publisher. You're telling it from the angle, look, I'm not buying your collection because I'm a collector. I'm not publishing your book because I like your book per se. I'm buying your collection because I want to flip it in my store, so I've got to give you less money than what it's actually worth so I can make money.
Yeah.
I can't put your book in my store because I don't think it'll sell. You don't have a following that I know that I can, generate some sales off of.
Yeah.
I
And
get
a lot
the
of
same thing with people
It's
asking
just-
for covers.
it's not worth my time. Sometimes I'll say it's not worth my time. I could do this, but
Yeah.
I'm only going to sell this much. Why should I put my time and energy towards this thing when I could put it towards this thing and make 3 times as much?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the comics as a creator, I mean, you want to create because you want to create, but at the end of the day, it's got to make money or that train's going to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. I mean, I know I handle mine a little different, and I'm not saying people have to do it this way. When with Psycho Sal, and that's just because I'm paranoid and I'm determined the book's going to be out there one way or another. You know, Psycho Sal's 100% done out of my own pocket before the Kickstarter ever starts. So I'm out $6,000 before the Kickstarter even day one. So, but you know, so that's a little different. But it's you know, I get messages every other day. Especially when I make that announcement, which, you know, like I'll be doing one here soon about, you know, hey guys, the next issue we're planning for number 5. Number 4 is about to drop this month. Number 5 will be in the next month and a half or so. You know, feel free to tag some artists, or feel free, if you're an artist, and, you know, chime in. I'll take a look at your stuff. But at the end of the day, I you know, again, even though I handle something a little different, I put about 5 or 6, you know, anywhere between 4 to 6 guest artists on each book. And I save 2 spots. One spot is for someone who has a completely different style than mine, just so I can shine a little light on something kind of cool.
Very smart.
The other one, the person for the other spot, it's someone who's never been published. And that's not me saying that I'm anybody or my book's anything. It's just, I save those 2 spots for that. But I get tons of people, and I have to tell some of them, you know, hey man, I can't right now, you know, because I have to look at, okay, what does the art look like? And then I also have to look at, if I go to your Facebook page and I scroll down your Facebook page and I see political this, religious this, Crimea River post here, and that's all I see. And then it takes me 6 months of digging to find a piece of art that you drew. I'm not putting you on my book, because you don't have the time to draw every single day to meet the deadlines.
Yeah.
So all that's relevant.
It is.
And it sucks to tell people, no, it does. I mean, I'm not an asshole. I would love to see everybody get a published cover, and I'm super proud to have them sending me PMs asking to do a cover for my little indie ass horror book. I mean, I'm super proud of that and blessed to have people interested in doing it. But I've got to look at what you're doing. Like you said, what have you written? You know, what's your history behind it? I can't look at your page and nobody's following you and nobody's buying your art and you haven't I don't have an issue taking a chance on someone. Like I said, I've got that one spot for someone that's never been published. Yeah. But I have to be able to look at your Facebook page and see you're putting in the legwork, even though you're not being published, but you're drawing and you're posting art like every other day.
Yep. Yep. No, you're absolutely right. It's you know, I'm not charity.
Yeah.
I'm not being a jerk, but I mean, we're all here to make money.
Yeah.
It's a business. I say it all the time too. It's not personal. It's just business.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. I'm just listening and learning from you guys.
No. And we'll wrap this up because I've wasted a lot of you guys' time. And let me just say, definitely thank you guys so much for being part of the show. I want to try to do this once a month, twice a month, just where I talk to different people from different avenues of the industry, because I want people to hear your opinions and your thoughts on these different subjects, and of course the process of the industry, because I truly do believe that a lot of regular folks, fans and collectors, etc., that don't work in this industry, I don't think they really understand the amount of work you guys do as a publisher, as a retailer, as an artist, as a creator, because we don't clock in for 8 hours and go home. That's just not how this works.
Yeah,
so I definitely appreciate you guys being here.
It's a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. You know, if I can stay as long as you need, I'm good. And then if you know, before someone tries to do something, again, just because you can don't mean you should. You gotta get a following. You gotta have a market. It's not Field of Dreams just doing a Kickstarter as you know. Just doing it doesn't mean it's automatically going to make money. You can have a great artist. A great artist can draw shitty images too. Just because somebody has a good name doesn't mean they're going to give you an image that's going to sell. And you could hire, you know, J. Scott Campbell to do a cover of a character no one cares about, nobody's heard of, and he draws a very subpar image, and it's not going to sell. Just because it's a name don't mean it'll get lots of attention on it, but it won't sell. Yeah. I've had many times where I've said, "Hey man, what do you think of this cover? Oh, I think it's really cool. Will you give me $10 for it?" "Nah, I'm good." You know, it's like, come on, man. Like people are like, "Oh, that's really cool. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I love the way that looks."
Right.
That reminds me of
Back
something
it.
awesome. Yeah, it's only $10. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely true. Like it's you, and like I said again, because we're investing. Like again for myself, especially, I'm investing my money before I even have a clue what the Kickstarter is
Yeah.
going to be. So I have to be extremely picky about the people I put on the book. Now I'm sure some people look at my Kickstarters, and some of the people that are on there, the people probably go, "What the hell?" Okay. But like I said, for me personally, it's just a variety thing.
Mhm.
And like I said, I have those two spots. But at the end of the day, it's got to make the money. And I always tell any of the artists that work on my book, I tell them one of the things, because here's something that happens, and this is not bashing any artist, because this has been the industry standard forever, and that's been the fact that if someone does a cover for somebody, and when that cover gets revealed, they'll share that cover that one time and then they bounce. They go on to another project or whatever. They don't share it no more. They don't talk about it. So, I'm a big believer when someone hires me to do a cover for them during that time that 2-week, 3-week pre-sale is going on for retailer exclusives, or during that 30 days for Kickstarter, every other day I'm sharing it, I'm promoting it, I'm talking about it, I'm pushing people to it. And again, I'm not saying I'm anybody. I'm just saying I think that's part of my job as a cover artist, is to help that person sell their product. So I make that explicitly clear. And if you're going to work on my project, you got to share that stuff out. It isn't a one and done kind of thing. So you have to be picky about that. And that's where that falls into when I look at their page.
Yeah.
If I don't see them promoting other people's stuff, they're not going to promote this.
Well, if a publisher's smart, they will look that could be a part of hiring that artist too, is how much promotion am I going to give? Let's take John Jiang, for example.
exactly.
John Jiang will promote the shit out of a cover he does.
Yep.
He'll tag you. He puts you on his Instagram. He puts it. Shikari's the same way. Shikari puts it. Man, he puts a post up. It gets 12,000 likes and all this stuff, and but he will share it. He'll share it like once or twice.
Yeah.
He'll share it once. He gets it out there because he's also done some experimentation with getting shadow banned and some other stuff.
Oh yeah, now you got to be careful. I'm not talking about like spamming Facebook or Instagram or anything. You got to be careful. But I mean, I know the way I do it works, and that's not me trying to brag or nothing. It's just I can look at the books that I've sold out of for these retailer exclusives. And I mean, I've got some of the Hardly Thins, Do You Poos, et cetera, that have sold out in some in minutes and some in a day or two. I mean, I've had covers I've done retail exclusives for Image Comics that are 500 print runs that in the first, week and a half, 2 weeks that I was promoting it, they sold over half the books. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that as a bragging thing. So please, nobody take that as like I'm just saying that I know the way I promote works. For me personally, it works.
Yeah, no, if you crack the code for you and you've reached, and that's huge, bro. Like you've discovered your audience, you've cultivated your audience, you've continued to feed them what they want to see. Right. You've given them the product that they want, and you've continued to grow that. So that's, I mean, bro, that's building your career. That's part of growing an artist, in my opinion, of growing an artist's career is getting out there in front of your audience, build your own audience, build your own fan base.
Yep.
Get out. Same with retailers. It's my job to build my emailing list, to get my app push notifications up there, to get, my webpage that has tons of how many viewers and visitors do I have on there. That's part of my job, is to build up my sales force, right?
Yeah.
It's super important to do that. And if you're doing that for your stuff, that's fantastic. Now, not only you're an artist, but you're also the salesman doing the sales side of it also.
Yeah. Because
I'm gonna jump off, guys. And I had 3 beers tonight. I am waiting to do a drink and draw stream with you. I think that would be fun.
Oh yeah.
Also, I don't know what cons you guys are gonna be at. I'll be at Knoxville Fanboy and Tampa next month, so hit me up if you're gonna be around, anybody. All right. Thanks for having me on the show. I'll talk to you guys soon. Well, I'll talk to you soon, William, and have a great night. Thank you for elucidating some of that stuff. Yeah.
Like I said, thank you so much for being here, Amy. And for those that are just tuning in, that's Amy's cover that she just did for Psycho Sound #4, and she absolutely murdered it. So, but yeah. So I mean, because that's one of the other agreements I make with the retailers that I work with. No matter whether it's one of like the Image Comics Dynamic or Dynamite Comics, I mean, or the Do You Poos and Hardly Thins, etc. I always work out an agreement with them. The first 12 hours is posted to my social media. And then after that, they post it to wherever they want to. So it gives my followers a chance to buy the products. Sometimes they sell out before they ever go to the public. Sometimes they don't. Luckily, knock on wood, pretty much all the books I've done so far out of the 70 plus have pretty much sold more than 80% of what they were. So I'm super proud of that. My fans have definitely showed up and showed out, you know what I'm saying? So
That's great.
and I definitely agree with you. You can't spam, you don't want to do that. But I'm a big believer as an artist. I don't have 30 years to put into this. I started 5 years ago. And and I'm 47 now. I don't have 30 years to do this. I mean, I'm shocked my hands aren't killing me by this point. With the hours that I put in. But so I tell new artists the same thing. I was like, it depends on what you're trying to get out of it. And the same goes for retailers. I've told the retailers the same thing, new retailers. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to spend 30 years building your brand and getting people to finally notice you, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get noticed fast and you want to get work fast and you want to create a name for yourself fast, you got to run through this like a damn bull in the china shop, because nobody knows who the hell we are, and, I've had people ask me, why are you working so many hours? Why do you do this or that? I've had people ask that about some retailers. Damn, man, every time I see so-and-so, they got a whatnot show or they got a live show or they're doing this kind or that kind. I was like, yeah, but you know their name, don't you? Well, yeah, I see them all over. I was like, that's why. I was like, they don't want to spend 30 or 40 years building a name for themselves either. Yeah. So what would be your biggest advice then? Because my advice, I tell people, I love this industry. I mean, I left a stupid, lucrative career to move into this, and Lord knows we don't do this for the money like we talked about per se. And so I always tell people when they ask me is, if you really want to do this and you want to do it quickly enough to get your name out there, you need to be drawing 5 to 6 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you need to do that for a year straight, just because it teaches you 3 things, in my opinion. It teaches you how to handle the workloads and try to meet imaginary deadlines you could be setting for yourself. It shows you tremendous leaps in your art. Every 3 months or so, you'll see huge leaps in your art. And it teaches you how to understand the sacrifices you will have to make if you want to do this and have a name for yourself. So that's kind of the advice I give. What would you give, since you're coming at it as twofold, a retailer and as a now publisher, creator? What would be your biggest advice you would give somebody if they walked up to you right now and said, hey, what do I need to do?
Well, first thing I would ask them is, what are your goals? Right. So, okay, so this person, let's take this guy, Howard. So I want to get into it to make someone smile, enjoy the art. Fantastic. Good for you. Like, that's great. Not taking anything away from that. Right. You want to make someone smile. More people in the world need to smile. Good for you. We're not going to work together. I got a whole different mentality. My mentality is, and I have no shame in saying this at all, not only do I want to be successful, I want to be rich. I don't just want to be rich. I want to be really rich. Yeah. Those are my goals, right? I'm 50. I turn 50 next month, right? Like you said, bro, you said it perfectly. If I got another 30 years, I'm lucky. I'm happy. If I make it to 70, that's a win in my book, man. I'd be lucky if I make it to 70. So I got maybe 20 years of good life left, right? Like, that'd be 70, 50, 60, 70. 30 years would be 80. Holy crap, right? So if I got 20 years left, that's cool. Think about it. What'd you do last year? Most people don't have anything significant they did. What'd you do last year? Yep. Oh, I went to work, bought a car, whatever. Went to this. Kid's now in 6th grade instead of 7th grade. Like, what'd you really do, man? Right? So if I only got 20 years of being able to say, what'd you do last year? I want to make every single year count. Right. Yeah. So my advice to somebody would be, first I got to know what your goal is. If your goal is to make people smile, you can do that by working a couple hours a day, draw some funny pictures, and you're going to make people smile. Sounds great. If you want to be successful and be able to, by success, I mean, you want to be able to feed your family, have your wife possibly not work. You want to be able to provide a good life for them and then leave something to your kids after you pass. Not a mountain of debt, right? Leave something to your kids when they pass. They don't need a trust fund to have billions of dollars, but they got something, right? If that's your goal and you want to quit your current job, you got to be willing to sacrifice and you got to be willing to work your ass off.
Yep.
Period. Well, if you play video games, stop.
Yep.
Stop playing video games. You know, for years, my wife knew she got maybe an hour with me a day. Maybe. I mean, we're talking 7 days a week.
Yep.
I would get home so late from working because I would do live sales. I'm doing Facebook live sales until when's everybody on buying live sales?
When
9,
they get off
10,
work.
11, 12 o'clock at night. That's when
Yep.
people are spending money online. So I'm live until 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Then you have all the admin to do, which takes hours. And then you come home and you're wired, so you're laying in bed staring
yeah.
at the walls because you can't sleep.
Super
So
down.
I'm home at 2 a.m. So I'm sleeping until 9 or 10. She's already up and out the door going to work. So I would see her maybe an hour a day if I was lucky. If I woke up in time to be like, huh? You're going to work? Okay. Love you. Yeah, it's going to be late again tonight. Sorry. So sacrifice. You got to have somebody willing to understand that believes in you, that believes you're building something. That's so important. You got to believe in you, right?
Yep.
You got to be so focused that when you're making a conscious decision to sacrifice time with those who you love, you're sacrificing that in order to what? What's the reasoning you're sacrificing this time?
Yep.
To build something. So you got to be smart enough to have a vision, to have a plan, to have steps, to have goals to execute that plan, right? And then they got to believe in that plan too. And you
Yep.
got to show them tangible progress, just like an artist. Like you said, every 3 months, you can see huge leaps and steps in your art if you practice, right? In the retail business, you should be able to see your sales growing quarterly. You're making more money. You're implementing new processes so you're getting more efficient and more effective, right? And now your work, maybe you can work less. Now you can hire somebody to do your shipping. Now
Yep.
you can hire somebody to do your customer service. But since you hire somebody, now you're free for that time. Now you're not free to just screw off at work. You're not free to go home earlier because you're still building a business,
Yep.
right? You're still building a business. So you got to be willing to sacrifice time. You got to be super focused. You got to be willing to sacrifice, right? You have to be willing to give up important things because you're building something for them.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, Amy, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And it
So-
is, and I always try to tell them, I was like, because a lot of people try to sugarcoat it, and I try to be my experience, and I try to share that with them, and I try to give people that, okay, this is what's going to happen if you want it to be this way. I was like, I don't get to play video games. I don't get to go to the movies every time a new movie pops out. I don't get to go to the bar and hang out with my friends. I don't get to hang out with my friends. I get very limited time with my daughters and my grandkids. I've went through, in the last 5 years, I've been through 2 relationships because one of the absolute hardest things of this industry is trying to explain to someone who doesn't work this industry, who doesn't understand this industry, who works a regular job that clocks in, clocks out, and goes home and washes their hand of the business. It's hard to explain to them and for them to truly understand it, that they can stand by you. So that's going to be difficult too. That person that's your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband, whatever the case may be, that's going to be a unicorn almost kind of moment that they're willing to understand and stand by you, because they're looking at the end result too. Because like you said, you bust your ass for the first 10, 15 years by being a raging bull. And then you can slow down just a little bit later on and spend that quality time. But you gotta have someone that's willing to do that with you. And as much as I love this career, and as much as I love the people I get to interact with and who do make me a priority by sharing my content or coming on my show and things like that, who help me get through the day to day. Because one of the things you guys have got to understand, and I'm sharing this because I hope it maybe puts this into light a little bit for you when the next time you're talking down to an artist, or you're going off on a retailer because they didn't ship your book, within a day or so, or they accidentally set it on a shelf and it got overlooked, and you're showing your ass and losing your mind. Whether it's a retailer, whether it's a publisher, whether it's a comic artist, a writer, when you see the ones who are constantly hustling, constantly posting, constantly doing the work, so they're doing the work, they're being legit. They are sacrificing everything around them to make you as the fans happy. Everything.
Yeah. So the girls are saying some great things in the chat too. So you got to be careful with your own health. And or on. I'm sorry, I'm fucking up your name, Miss Vu. You got to be careful with your health because, I tell you, it just takes discipline. I'm just as guilty as everybody else, but you just got to make good choices. I know it sounds cliche. You don't need McDonald's. You don't need the crappy food. You got to eat right, and then anybody can literally do some push-ups. Get your heart rate up.
I'm so guilty.
Stand
I'm so
up
guilty
and get around. But it's a lifestyle change. It's a habit. You got to make it a habit. Yeah, and you can't do it without your husband, Amy. You're absolutely right. I remember my wife in tears, looking at me before we got married, saying, "I don't." She's looking at me saying, "This is not the life I wanted," and I felt that. I felt that. Like, who would want to be with a dude that works all day, every day? And I had almost nothing to show for it because I was still building the business.
Yeah.
Every dime I made went right back into it. Every dime I made went right back into it. So she's like, this isn't what I want out of life. And then slowly, I eventually, she was able to quit her job and come work for me at the store.
Nice.
She's able to work with me at Comics Elite, help me get some administrative stuff squared away, help me get some processes in place because I needed help. And she would come in and was able to help me get some stuff set up. And then eventually she was able to stay home altogether. So I made enough money where she could stay home. Now she has two jobs. She's house manager and vacation planner.
There you go. And that's what it's about. And this goes out to the spouses or whatever. This again, you don't understand what we go through. Like, I mean, and I'm not trying to make this a man versus woman thing or anything. I don't mean that. It's just this industry as a whole can be so trying from the petty drama that we have to deal with. That I promise you, 99% of you guys have no idea the shit we deal with from other petty artists trying to slander and talk shit and things like that to the underhanded BS of people not wanting to pay or etc. There's all of that on top of all of the work itself. So you guys got to be willing to stand that ground, support your spouse, and ride that roller coaster because it is so difficult. Because I mean, I hope to get to that point at one moment to where if anything, I can bring my daughters on, as employees and have them work in parts of what I do. Because I don't want to necessarily just be a straight cover artist. I want to see Psycho Sal blow up into something. And then I've got the new story coming later this year for Cycle of the Blood Moon. So, I want to see that grow. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. You got to have a support group, a support person, if they're going to be involved, that's got to be willing to ride that roller coaster.
Yeah, great, man. The comments are great right now. All these guys are saying some great stuff. Amy, similar situation. My wife always jokes around. She didn't marry me for money. I was broke as shit when she married me, man. Or when she got with me. She didn't marry me yet. But she, bless her heart, man, she let me move into her house when I was like, I don't even know if I can pay my share of what your mortgage is. Well, to be honest with you, like, I'm that broke. But she saw something, she believed in me. And it worked out for her, so far so good, right? And yeah, it's so key to have people support. Man, support is so huge. Support is so huge, Corey. Full time with turnaround time on our online store conventions. It's crazy how it is. It's a full. People don't get it. It's a full-time job. And I always tell people this. I say, look, do what you, so Corey, I assume you're an artist, right? Back to my art for the first time in years. So Corey, do the thing that only you can do. Only you can draw Corey's arts, right? Only you can do that. Anybody can ship a package.
Yep.
Anybody can answer a question. Anybody can do customer service. Do the thing that only you can do. Now, here's what sucks. We talked about this earlier, right? Hiring people. Well, how do I hire somebody to ship all my stuff out? You got to hire someone. You got to train them. You got to hire them the right way, which means put them on a W-2 and pay them a legitimate salary, right?
No matter what you're doing.
No matter what, yeah, you got to figure that shit out. So now, not only are you an artist, but now you're a business manager. Now you're HR for your business, right? But that's what it is, right? But once you take that time and you sacrifice it, you don't sacrifice it. Yeah, they're not at all, But that's okay. The artists I work with, I need them to stay focused on their art.
Yeah.
I want you to be artists. You guys are wired crazy, man. Your brains, your artists, you guys are insane. And I love you for it. I need you guys to be freaking your artist, eccentric, crazy ass, insane, amazing, brilliant minds, right? I can't draw for shit. I never can. I never will, but I can run a business, right? I can totally do that. So that's what I do well. Yeah. So what I encourage every artist is find someone you can work with. I tell you something, me and Ryan Kincaid, when we were first getting into this industry, we grew up together. He was the artist, I was the business guy, and we latched onto each other. We became super good friends. And look at Ryan now. He's built his own little mini empire. You know, he's done fantastic. Yeah.
And he's got the same mindset as us, and that's the zero tolerance for the bullshit. And I think that's one of the reasons. I know that for me personally, that's one of the reasons I like Ryan, is because if I ask Ryan's opinion on something, I know I'm going to get a legit answer. I'm not going to get some sugar-coated bullshit or chamber crap, which is why I've asked you questions before too, and things like that. That's the kind of stuff I want. So Ryan, for any of you who are not following Ryan Kincaid, I don't know what rock you're under, but make sure you damn sure go check out Ryan and give him a follow.
It's about, but when you first start off, that's why you don't have any time, because not only do you got to draw, but then you got to ship, and then you got to answer messages. Mm-hmm. But that's why you got to know, another step in owning a good business is know your weakness. Where do you suck at? Do you suck at time management? Most people do. That's why I bring it up. Yeah. Most people suck at time management. Oh man, I should have been drawing for the last 4 hours. What have you been doing? I've been on the internet. Then get off the effing internet. Right? Or I've been on the video games. Well, I've been arguing with this guy about something. Then stop arguing. Nobody cares anyway. Nobody cares.
You making money while you were arguing?
Yeah, exactly. Are you making money from arguing, or could you have a beautiful piece of art that you could show when you're done? Can you show something beautiful that you did, or do you have a big Facebook post that no one cares about in 3 minutes? You know what I'm saying? So time management is key, right? Stay focused. Everyone knows in my office at Comics Elite, I turn on super loud metal music.
There you go.
When I turn on my music, I already know it occupies that part of my brain that won't fucking shut up.
Yep.
Right? It occupies it part of my brain, and I can focus on the task at hand. I can post on my website. I can update my email list. Yep. I can answer these questions. I can focus. I can't have a conversation. When I have to have a conversation, I get up and I go pace around outside, up and down on the street. Because that's where I can focus on what that person's saying. If I'm in front of my computer, I can't focus on what you're saying. I'm going to be like, sorry, man. What'd you just say? I'm sorry, man. I didn't hear a word. I'll be honest. I didn't hear a word of what you just said because this person messaged me. If I hear this in the background.
Yep.
Right? When someone's talking to me, I'm like, what are you doing right now?
Yep. I'm the same way.
I do it to Murphy all the time. It's so funny. I'll be talking to her. She's going. And I'm like, Murphy, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. I was answering a message. I'm like, we're having a conversation. She's like, sorry. Right? But we all do it. You got to have time management, man. Hyper focus, right? You only give yourself so many hours in a day. I tell people, it sounds archaic, but plot out your day, man. Give yourself hour time hacks.
Yeah.
Before your day starts, give yourself 5 minutes. Now let's turn it into a whole business class, right?
Yeah.
Give yourself. I used to do this at a high level, man. I was a corporate sales trainer for years in the Marine
Yeah.
Corps. Give yourself 5 minutes out of your day to plan your day.
Yep.
And then set an alarm on your phone, because we all suck at it. Set an alarm on your phone every hour on the hour. Every hour on the hour, an alarm goes off. What do you do when that alarm goes off? You don't turn it off and be like, stupid alarm, and then you turn it off. I'm not dealing with this right now, and you set it down. No, you stop and you go to your little plan of the day. Oh,
What am I
what was I
supposed to
supposed to do? I was supposed to have this done. Did I do it? No. Why not? Because I was fucking around on the internet doing stupid shit. Well, now I got to do for my task for the next hour and the shit I didn't get done for the last hour.
Yep.
So guess what? Now you're not going home at 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or going to bed at 10 or 11 or 12. Now you got over 3 hours of work you got to catch up on, because rolling it over to the next day is not an option. It's not an option. You got to hold yourself to that extreme level of accountability. Remember, and I know I'm being a motivational speaker, Sean, now, but it's true. To have what you've never had before, you got to do what you've never done before.
Yep.
So what have you never done before? You've never managed your time on a schedule. You've never done that. I promise you, most people haven't.
Nope.
Right? So
Yeah, 'cause I mean, all the jobs I had prior to my last career, I mean, I worked in construction. I've done every type of job you could probably think of, from bouncer in a club to a dealer in a casino, bartender, bar back, security. I've done all types of construction stuff that, you didn't really have to worry about time things per se. But once I got into the insurance world that I was in for 7.5 years, I go to the office first thing in the morning. I'm interviewing, or not interviewing, but doing group for the interview hirees that come in for possible jobs. So we're explaining to them about time structure, because we do in-home appointments for clients. So everything is time management in that world.
Yeah.
You got to be in at a certain time, out at a certain time. You got to make sure you're making time for everyone. And what's up, McLean? Answering all their questions. So that became very time structured. And I'm super glad I experienced that, because that world taught me two things. That was a 1099 world too. If I didn't go out and work, I didn't make my money. If I didn't put on a personable, happy interaction with clients, I didn't make my money. etc. And I was the only one had income coming in, so I had no choice but do it. So I'm glad I experienced that, because it carried over to the comic thing really well. It allowed me to put in those long hours, to walk away from that, to do this, and to have the faith in myself that I could do this too, because I just did that for 7.5 years.
Yeah, and if you don't have those skills, it's okay to go out and find them. Kelly just said it's funny. So I was a sales trainer manager for a while, but there's no life coaching. There's no money in it. That's why I don't do it. That people ask. You gotta, Amy said it too. You gotta have those successful practices. It's I'll tell you something, the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I advise every single person to get that book and read that book. Read that book. Covey. Hey, I'm not getting a commission. I don't have a link. Follow my description for a link for my affiliate link. It's just a great, if you want to be successful, that is the book to read. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's so good. Covey. Anyway, I could go on and on, but long answer to a short question. What would I advise? Step 1, get your shit together. Number 2, be willing to sacrifice, right? Be willing to sacrifice. Number 3, you got to have your team on board. Your family's got to be on board with you. Everyone just talked about it in the comments. You got to have your family on board with you. Guys, you can't come home and then have your wife, husband, whoever pissed off at you because you were at work all day. Yeah. It's also not fair for you to come home and then expect them bend over backwards for you because you were working all day, right? Yep. You got to give too. You got to give. They got to give.
Roller coaster.
Yeah, you got to give too. You can't just come home and be like, oh, I'm so tired. And then you turn into a little drama princess because you come home and, oh, poor is me, poor is me. What's my rule number 1? Nobody cares.
Yep.
Right? Nobody cares that you worked all day and you had a hard day. I could tell this goes for everybody, man. Nobody cares. I was at home. Well, your wife stays at home and doesn't work. Okay. You go to work all day and you work. Okay. You come home, you're together. It's not a contest. What'd you do today? What'd you do today? Blah, blah. No one cares. You worked all day. Fuck you guys. That's what you're supposed to fucking do. You worked all day, right? You're a provider. This is to the guys, right? And I may sound a little chauvinist, but I'm 50. bear with me. That's your job. Provide for your family. So go to work all day. What do you want? A fucking award for it? You want a prize?
Protect.
Yeah, you don't get a prize. You went to work all day. Shut up and stop asking for someone to kiss your ass.
Yeah.
Come home and don't be a dick. Be a freaking gentleman. Be amazing. Give to your family, to your loved ones. Same when you're building a business. You're going to work all day. In those very, very precious few moments you do have with the people who you love and who support you, you need to kiss their ass and be grateful for them, bend over backwards for them. What can I do for you? Even though you're already doing stuff for them, you're building your business for your family. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? You want me to make dinner? You want me to do this? You want me to do this? What is it? Right? Anyway, I could go on and on and on.
No, I completely agree with you. I do. You got to manage your time. You got to make sure. You got to make sure your support group at home. You sit down and you have a real come to Jesus talk about what you're about to do, what it's going to consist of, and what it's going to require of everyone involved. But like you said, you can't
and brother,
come home and expect that.
And you said it perfectly. What you're doing, what it's going to entail, and why you're doing it.
Yep.
Right. What's the WIFM? So think about this. You know, I always say it's WIFM. WIFM. What's in it for me? WIFM. Right, in the sales world. What's in it for me? WIFM. What's the WIFM for your wife to give up all these things that she wants? What's the WIFM for your kids to be without you for all these events you're going to miss? What's the WIFM? What's in it for them? Why should they support you in building this whole thing? Why should they stay home while you go to a convention?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Conventions are fun. You're going out at night and having fun with your friends. You're not at home putting the kids to bed and doing shit. You're having a blast. Everyone has a little bit of fun at a con. Don't get me wrong. It's exhausting. It's hard work. Yeah. You're there early. You're setting up. You got to be turned on all day. You're dealing with fans. You're hooking and jabbing. You're moving. You're being friendly to every single person. It's exhausting. And then you got to go out to dinner and you still got to be happy and doing shit and talk to everybody. And then you barely get any sleep. But then you got to do it again the next day. It's a lot of work, but it's fun work.
Yeah, right? It's a very rewarding thing. Thank goodness, because it is. Like some people think, oh, you're going to a con, you're just having a blast. That it's not like that. I mean, the cons start. Most cons on average, VIPs come in at 9:30. You're there. Most of us artists, we're usually there around 8 a.m. We woke up at 6:30. We grabbed breakfast. We grabbed a shower. We headed down to the con. We're working before the VIPs roll in. And then from the minute at 10 a.m. when the doors open and it goes until, 6, 7, 8 p.m., depending on the con, then when you leave there, you've got certain retailers that invite you out to dinner. You can't tell them no. You don't want to be that person because they thought of you, no matter how damn exhausted you are. So now you go out to them and it's a Friday night, Saturday night. So if they didn't think to make reservations, now you may not be eating dinner. Now, remember, more than likely, you didn't eat lunch. No. Now it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and you're finally getting dinner, and you don't want to be one of those people, hey, guys, I got to run off. While they've got you there, you want to entertain them. You want to interact. You want to be in the moment. So now you don't make it to the damn hotel till 11, 12. And most of us artists that are doing sketches at cons, guess what?
You got to work.
We're not going to the hotel going to sleep. Now we're working on commissions that people are supposed to pick up the next day. We don't go to bed till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then we're up at 6 a.m. again. And for me personally, I drive to my shows, so I'm driving, the day before the event. I'm coming home the day after the event like a jackass.
So while you guys are all doing this, while we're all doing this, because I do all the shows too, right? Yeah. What's the WIFM? What's in it for your wife to stay home? Right? Or your family to be without you? What's in it for them? You got to answer those questions. So when you're having that conversation with them about, here's what we're about to embark on, here's the career path I'm going to choose. Yeah. Why should they sacrifice all these things? Are you coming home and giving her money? Here's $500, spend on whatever you wanted to spend on. Hopefully not, because they're probably just going to spend it on some bullshit. Are you going to invest it in an account? Are you building towards your kid's college account? Are you putting it towards new stuff for you to be able to create more craft? Are you going to use it to maybe I'm going to take this money I make from the con and then I won't have to draw for a week so I can focus on hiring somebody to be our shipping person and manage our website.
Right.
So then I can, when I do get back to drawing, I can just focus more on drawing. I don't got to post on the website, whatever. What's the plan? You got to have a plan, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, most people, that's why they don't succeed. And they do this industry for 10, 20 years. And at the end of the day, they got nothing to show for it. They're still drawing when they're 50 to pay the bills. Not because they want to, because they have to.
Yeah.
Right. So you gotta have a well thought out, great plan, artists and retailers.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Artists and retailers. And if you get a good pairing, now you're able to crush it together.
Yeah, sure. That's definitely true. Definitely true. Well, anyway, Sean, I'm gonna get off here and let you get back to your evening.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
I'm working on another Hardly Thin cover for a retailer, so I'm gonna jump back on that.
You dirty tease.
I got about another. It's almost 9:30. I'll probably work about another 3 hours. So
nice.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. But the fans, you guys are what make every bit of this worth it. Like the reason we're talking about this is not us bashing the industry or bashing what we do. We understand what we have to sacrifice, and we're okay with that because you guys make every bit of this worth it. I promise you, no matter how exhausted we are at cons, when we see you guys come around that damn end of the row and you guys spot our booth and you're grinning from ear to ear and you wave, dude, it washes all of it away.
It makes the day.
Yeah, exactly. So I am very grateful for the fans. Thank you guys so much for the support you show me, Psycho Sal, the support you guys show stores like Comics Elite, publishers like Merc, things like that. You guys please continue to do that. Share out our content, even if you can't support it financially, that's okay. I promise you, sharing is extremely powerful. So make sure you guys do that. And when you see us dropping these new covers or new Kickstarters, etc. And Sean, you guys have a Kickstarter going on right now, or?
Oh man, we just ended Guns and Angels. We're working on Born of Blood. Oh, that pre-sale is done tomorrow morning. That starts on Comics Elite's website.
Oh, there you go, guys.
Javakis, the full cover art will be revealed tomorrow. That's the preview edition.
Okay.
I like doing that lately. I've been zooming in on just the face because if they draw a really good one, it's just so
that's
stunning.
Great cover. I love the face.
Oh man, Javakis is he's killing it. But yeah, Kickstarter coming soon. Just follow Merc Publishing. Go there. Merc Kickstarter. We got Born of Blood Special Edition. Shikari is crushing a cover for that. Can't show it to you yet. We got a great one from Ali Garza. We got some really good ones showing up on there. So love all the support, guys. Thank you so much. And William, thanks for having me on, bro. I appreciate it. Always happy to talk about the industry. Always happy to offer some advice to somebody. Even if they don't want to hear it, I'll always tell them the truth.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I appreciate that. There too many people want to sugarcoat shit. Like you said, that whole telling people they can sing when they can't kind of syndrome. And guys, and when somebody gives you their honest opinion and it's not something you necessarily wanted to hear, now don't get me wrong, I'm a big believer. If you didn't ask, nobody needs to be saying shit. But if you put it out there and you say, hey, can I get some feedback? Take that and really try to implement it, learn from, especially when you're talking, you're getting that feedback from people that's in the industry that's put in the work. Make sure you guys take it to heart and apply it. Don't just get upset and run for the heels. But yeah, make sure you guys check out Sean and Merc Publishing. Make sure you guys give Comics Elite a follow. Also, make sure you guys are following Charter Comics. That's, of course, who Psycho Sal is published under. Chris and McLean and all those guys goes above and beyond for people in this industry day in to day out. So much behind closed doors, you have no idea. So make sure you guys check it out. Make sure you check out Chris's new Kickstarter with Valhalla, which I do have a cover on. So make sure you guys go check that cover out and the other covers on the project. Beautiful colors on this by Dave Kemp. Absolutely killed it. But yeah, Sean, thank you so much, brother. I really do appreciate your time and hanging out with us. And I'll definitely have you on another show, at some point too, to hear about some more of your escapades you got going on. But thank you, brother. You have a wonderful night, and everybody else, thank you.
You too, William. We'll talk later, guys. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.